Today's episode is brought to you by Element, a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. In other words, no sugar, no artificial coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, and no BS. With Element, I love the watermelon. The watermelon tastes freaking awesome. I drink 1 pack every day, no matter what. People that train out here, it's sitting out here for them all the time. The boxes don't last very long. Right now, Element is offering Table Talk listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packages free with any Element order. Get yours at drinkelement.com/Table Talk. The deal is only available through the link in the description. The other thing is, if you don't like it, you can just give it away to a salty friend and Element will give you a 100% refund. No risk, money back guarantee. Head over to drinkelement.com/Table Talk. One of the best ways that you can support the podcast and your training is to join the crew. When you join the crew, you get an extra crew cast podcast every single month. You also get access to our Discord, which has a training Q&A with Team Elite FTS members. You get form checks. You can upload any of your training footage and have your lifts diagnosed, sometimes within minutes, by multiple people. Access to close to 30 different ebooks, training logs, and first sign up access to our weekend training retreats, train your ass off, and other events that we do. Biggest takeaways from that, though, what people enjoy the most and get the most out of is the training Q&A and the form checks, as well as the extra podcast. Hey guys, I'm back in the gym with another limited edition apparel drop. This is the new Live, Learn, Pass On shirt. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our cambered grip American cable attachment. This attachment has 4 grips and it's cambered. So when you flip it, it actually becomes 8 grips. And if you turn it upside down, there's actually 16. This is one of our most used cable attachments out in the gym. Even got that full range of motion. We got a second limited edition drop this month as well. Head over to EliteFTS.com, pick up the shirt, pick up the cable attachments, and we'll see you next time.
Matt with Elite FTS here at the Armory in Columbus, Ohio. This is a new build, beautiful facility. Should be opening up around November 1st, 2023. Looking at the posterior chain developer, signature version. It's going to have the logo panels on there. Reverse hypers, you can do glute ham raiser, back raise, any kind of posterior chain movement you want to do on this piece. This is really good. The best thing about this, so you just step down on the release, adjust it. So it makes it really easy to adjust these, no pop pins or anything of those sorts. So this is the signature posterior chain developer by EliteFTS.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by EliteFTS.com. Founded in 1998 with the primary aim to live, learn, and pass on. Please help Elite FTS support this mission by smashing the like button, leaving a comment, sharing with a friend, and thinking of us for your training needs. If you can put it in a gym bag or load weights on it, Elite FTS has it.
What's going on? I'm Dave Tate. We are broadcasting from the middle of the Elite FTS weight room, where the underground still thrives and you're part of the crew. It's time to sit down, keep it real, and cut the bullshit. Welcome to Table Talk. Okay. All right, we're back with another episode of Table Talk. Today, my guests are Dan Pasholk.
Yep.
Nailed it. And then John Haack. Yep. Dan is the owner of Madtown Fitness. He's been on the podcast before, so you can go watch that, find all the history of the gym. John is, I'm going to change this up on you a little bit. So I'm going to say John is a powerlifting coach first, because you do the coaching.
I do.
And a world record holder, as well as provenstrength.com.
Dot app or .net.
Well,
they're both
it's
the same.
.net.
Yeah.
Okay, .net. And your coaching services and apps and all the shit, and even some apparel.
Correct.
Is on there.
Yep.
The one thing before we get started, I got to bring up, because when I went to your link tree this morning, just kind of looked through it, your OnlyFans page is awesome, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Like if anybody's interested in his OnlyFans, go to his Instagram or wherever his link tree is posted and check it out.
So you're saying you clicked on my OnlyFans?
I did exactly click on your OnlyFans. I'm a member. I am a member many times over. If you look around,
yeah.
I'm a supporter of your OnlyFans, so it's great to meet you because of that.
It was actually really funny to bring that up, because there was at one point like a big Instagram page shared one of my videos, and someone commented like, "Oh, he has a he has an OnlyFans, like that's disgusting. Like just kind of went on like a rant about like how immoral I am. And I like replied, I was just like, hey buddy, you want to just like click that link? Mm-hmm. And then he like came back, he's like, oh, that's pretty funny.
Oh boy, what an idiot. What an idiot. But I thought it'd be good to have you guys out because you've talked behind each other's back on the other episodes. So now you can talk right to each other's face.
Oh, yeah.
Talk shit now. What are you in town for?
We're in town. Well, we're in town to pick up some equipment
Mm-hmm.
and just to come out for the podcast and stuff too.
Yep.
It's nice to make a road trip out here.
Yeah, that was a nice
times
long
here.
answer.
I don't know, nothing special. Just we had some time and yeah, got some cool piece of equipment and always trying to make the gym better.
Yeah. So you picked up a couple pieces that we had in the gym for
I picked
couple
up
decades.
I actually picked up the original Elite FTS leg press, which is like when I was like a fucking kid, like in early college, all that kind of stuff, and it was kind of like the dream of owning a gym was kind of starting to grow within my mind. It was like I was always watching your videos and John's videos, like just basically kicking the living shit out of each other on, especially on the leg press. Those were always like the best videos of you guys just absolutely murdering each other on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like in my mind, I was always like, I'm going to buy that fucking leg press when I own a gym. So
That's the first leg press we ever made too.
Yeah, it's pretty
So-
awesome. I'm super, super excited about it.
Yeah, it hurt me a little bit to actually replace it with a newer one in here, but I figured after
I was
15
surprised you
years-
did. I walked in and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
I was like, where did it go? You're like, oh, we still have it.
But I'm glad it went to your gym, because
we're
that's
gonna-
We'll,
I get real
we'll
picky.
recreate those videos just
Yeah.
with like a third the intensity.
actually, I'm probably going to put it right in front of the mural of John.
yeah.
That'll be
Which
cool.
would be really cool because we got that huge mural of John that he actually signed. So I'm going to put it right fucking there.
Mhm.
So that's like a perfect spot for it. I feel like probably put a little plaque up or something.
This is
explaining
John
the
Meadows,
history.
not a mural.
Not
of me.
you.
Yeah.
I haven't made a mural of you yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
I have been wanting, like, in Rocky IV when he's like fighting in Russia and like they're playing the Russian national
Yeah.
anthem and like the big mural of Ivan
Yeah.
Drago comes up. I want that, but like
Yeah.
for the U.S. like hard.
Yeah.
Just a straight propaganda poster
Yeah.
of
Exactly.
John's face
Yes.
on it.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
we're going
Like
for.
every time I enter
Yeah.
the gym to lift, I want like
It should be right behind the deadlift platform.
mhm.
So then every time you pull,
Yeah,
You
that
know.
that raises up.
it raises up. So it has to be motorized.
Yep.
We do have that huge motorized fucking screen.
We do.
It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. Well, one of the interesting things is you told me on the first podcast that you were gathering equipment while you were bouncing,
Mhm.
sticking it in the back of what car?
Like a Honda
Like a
Odyssey.
Honda
Oh my
Odyssey or
God.
whatever it
Tore the
was,
seats
yeah.
out of just
Yeah.
a royal piece of shit.
Oh my
vehicle.
God.
It was amazing.
So I know you've expanded because you
Yeah.
brought a trailer this time.
Yeah, but I got a truck that, made it here safely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the axle's not even bent on this one. So
Yeah.
it's a big step up for me.
What were you going to say about this Honda Odyssey?
Oh man, the brakes on that thing were the scariest thing ever. It was just grinding the whole time. You're just like, dude, I think you should get these fixed.
Yeah.
There weren't any brakes. I just threw it into reverse when I needed to slow down and just,
Mhm.
hoped it worked.
Yeah.
Were you doing the equipment pickups with him back then?
I did a few, yeah.
hmm
But yeah, it's scary in that thing.
hmm Well, what about jamming the equipment in there?
It was a pain. I think it was it fit surprisingly more equipment than I would think.
A lot of cargo room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never fucking died. It was like 267,000 miles. I just drove it to the junkyard and just handed the guy the keys.
Really?
Because it was like this, the back was so disgusting. I was like, I'm not gonna fucking sell this to someone. This is dangerous. Like
So it could still be on the road now.
It probably is. or it's at the junkyard. I know what junkyard it was at. The guy
Yeah.
was like, what do you mean? Like it runs? I was like, yeah. Just-
How
I don't
old were
know.
you when you started going to his gym?
I would have been 20,
20?
yeah.
So you just started competing or were you competing beforehand?
Yep. It was a couple months after my first meet.
Yeah. And then which gym was it?
It was the original one. I was one of your first members, I think.
Probably.
Probably in like the top.
There weren't a lot of members in the
Yeah,
first
that's
year.
true.
So you were definitely one of the first ones.
Yeah.
So what was the place like for you when you walked in there?
It was cool. Like, so we have like another powerlifting gym in our area that's a little bit like dirtier, and I don't want shit talking too much, but it was definitely like an upgrade where the people there were stronger. You had like Pete and all like the other bouncer buddies there and stuff like that, and he brought the Lily Bridge crew, all those guys, and a bunch of other kind of top name lifters every once in a while would stop in. So being a new kid in powerlifting and getting to train in that same environment was definitely a catalyst for my own.
Now, did
career.
you guys bounce in the same club?
We did, but not at the same time.
Yeah, we're two different generations.
Yeah.
Because you're old like me.
Yeah, I'm fucking old.
Yeah. So he
feel
got Pete
old.
Rubish the job there, and then Pete got me the job there.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So how long did you bounce for?
I bounced for it's been like 5 years, I think. Yeah.
So all through college.
Towards like the second half of college, and then a couple years afterwards, I kept bouncing.
That's the I make this running joke now that powerlifters years ago bounced, but now they do online training. So,
That's
so there's a lack of bouncers in every college town, right? They're probably having a hard time hiring them, because they're all online training now. So it's probably better if you really think it through.
I don't know. I mean, that was honestly one of my favorite jobs. It's like the only job where you can like really like tell someone to fuck off, and like your boss is like, "Good job."
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you say it to the wrong person, and your boss
Pushed
gets
the line
pissed.
a few times.
You more than me.
Now, this was college bar, right?
Yeah. It was like a frat boy bar. That's basically what it was. So you get my dad's a lawyer. Hear that a lot.
Yeah.
It's that kind of crowd.
Parents' weekends were always a trip.
Yeah.
Because the parents were a fucking mess.
Oh my God.
Parents were worse.
You're bringing back memories right now when I think about my bouncing days. You're right. It's different.
Yeah, I once saw a guy whose daughter was not a classy girl come in for like a father-daughter weekend, and was one of like the more wealthy sororities, and this dad's like the CEO of like a Fortune 500 company. Like, dude's making millions. Like, the dude's just filthy rich. He's basically watching his daughter go around and hit on all these different athletes and stuff. And you could tell the guy's just like, well, fuck. Like, I
just
fucked up.
dying
And
inside.
he just gets absolutely obliterated. And there used to be, I don't know, you weren't even there at this point, but there used to be these stairs that went up and then like a turn out the door. It was kind of like stairs up and then like a turn and then like another turn to get through the door. And the guy kind of like loses balance forward, overcorrects backwards, overcorrects again forward, and he just starts like going back and forth. And then all of a sudden he throws himself forward so hard that he's just at a full sprint with his head, like just going straight up the stairs, and he like fucking dives headfirst into this huge glass picture of like Camp Randall Stadium at UW. Just gashes his forehead open. He's bleeding everywhere. The guy just like crawls out hammered. We're like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
oh my God.
And the guy, I guess the guy had to take like a month off of work because he was like, he had all these like cuts and shit on his face. Like, can't be going to meet with like other CEOs, like his face all destroyed.
Did you have to ever throw anybody down the stairs? Is that how you got him out?
I never threw anyone down. We had to take him up the stairs.
Up the stairs.
Yeah, so
okay.
he ran up the stairs.
The stairs. Okay.
He like ran up the stairs and it like catapulted him like head first. Like,
you had to drag people up the stairs to get them out.
Yeah, that was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it was a pain.
Oh God, where I was at, we was down the stairs, so it was way more entertaining to see. How far we would. We'd have contests on what step you could get the person to. So if there's 20 steps, it's like, man, I was 4 steps. The goal was to get them all the way down and not hit a step. Thinking back, that's just brutal. It was like 20 steps, but it's not. At the time, it was like awesome. Like, how many steps did you get?
Did a fucking PR yesterday on steps.
Oh no.
Well, you had to just for the equipment, you had to go on through steps. You said yesterday.
I meant like if you're.
Okay.
I hit a PR yesterday. I threw the.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. No, that's how it was. But it also sucked too because the trash is gross, right? It's puke and beer and just that smell will never go away.
That's always the beginner bouncer's job to take that out at the end of the night.
So you had to take it upstairs to get it
not
out.
even just upstairs, but like through this little door that was maybe like 3 feet high. So you had to like crawl through it to get.
Oh God.
You like basically put your head right in the track.
We had to take it down the stairs, but we had to carry the kegs up. So I guess the kegs kind of suck either way, but it's kind of like a sumo stance. With the kegs going up.
We never had to do the kegs. That was the bar back guys' duty.
Oh, you never were a bar back. That's where the bigger money was at.
Not for us.
Really?
Yeah.
Depends on what time of year it was.
The bar backs didn't get tipped out.
They do, but we got to, if we had like a line, we were able to take tips.
Work them. Yeah.
And we, at least when I was there, we almost had a line like year round.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was very lucrative.
Yeah, I didn't figure that one out until I got.
You were at like the peak. Like Venmo and everything was like just starting.
Yeah,
it was like easy to have.
Fun fact: I have a lifetime ban from Venmo because
because of that.
Because we were taking so much money.
Really, they would Venmo you the money.
Yeah. So we'd have like 10 bouncers working, and so it was like 2 guys on the line, and they'd basically take all the money, and then at the end of the night we'd split amongst ourselves. And I had so much money in my Venmo account, and then it worked out that it was like Badger game day, and these like 3 girls, all like clearly underage, were trying to pay to cut the line. And I was just like, okay, just so you know, like I'll take your, like they kept being like, well, how much is it? I'm like, it's 40 a person. And like, I'm like, just so you know, like I'll take your money, but this isn't to get into the bar. It's just to cut this line.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, like, yeah, we're 21. I'm like, okay, like I gave her like 3 warnings, being like, I'm not gonna give you this money back.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, they're like, yeah, we're 21. All right, finally took it. 5 seconds later, they come around the like exit doors. They're like, we didn't fucking get in. Yeah. I'm like, well, that sucks. Okay. I was like, okay. They're like, we're 21. I was like, let me see your ID. I'm like, okay, clearly this is not you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, pulled up the Venmo, say like, yep, the names don't match anyways. She's like, it's my cousin's like Venmo. I was like, okay, I would have believed like mom or sister or something like that, but cousin, like clearly this is your cousin's ID. Mm-hmm. Like, get out of here. And then all 3 of them, requested it back, and because I had like 3 requests back,
the chargebacks,
the chargebacks, it kind of like flagged my account. And then Venmo looked at it and they're like, oh, like looks like you're using this for commercial reasons. So
okay,
yeah,
all right, so it wasn't because you were taking tips.
Yeah, I mean, like technically that's not illegal.
No, yeah, that's why I was confused. But the chargebacks, I can definitely see that. How you get chargebacks just on anything. Too many of them in a row.
But it's more so like the volume of it that got us. So.
Now you had to work on cash.
Yeah, we were all cash.
Yeah.
It was before that. So you'd have like there were always like 1 or 2 guys that we had that were bouncers, but they weren't like I was more one of like the grunt bouncers. We had like some of the sales guys kind of bouncers. Like we'd like send those guys out and they just come back like the end of the night, and we had these big like red puffy jackets, and they'd like open the jacket up and just like cash just pour out of it onto the table, and we'd start like separating it out.
Yeah, that's always the fun thing at the end of the night, just like have a pile of cash at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a good feeling. You don't get that feeling when it's just like you just hear like a brick of like 20s just like
so I
hit the table.
I paid the down payment on my truck when the Wisconsin Badgers played Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just took like the tips I made that night and like went into the dealership and just put it on the table basically. And they're like, the sales guy there was like, yeah, they're having a blast counting your money in the back right now.
Great. And that's how you opened your gym. Was bouncing.
I took all the cash. I went on Craigslist and I was like, what can I buy?
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of used old beat up equipment that I could basically use. I mean, some of it was actually like I made a road trip out here. Not quite out here, but like it's like the South Bend, Indiana area. I knew a guy around there, and it's like I got a handful of actually stuff that you guys made that was at the Browns facility for a while. So I got like some heavier duty stuff. It was like that was always like big buys. You know, it was like I found like a Pit Shark that somebody was selling for like $900, like right after the Pit Shark came out, which was like. For me, I was like, I'll fucking be there. And then I just drove to Cincinnati, like 7 hours or 6 hours or whatever it was. Just like, all right, like I'll be in the car. I'll be there in 7 hours. Like I was like, all right.
You guys just changed my mind. I don't think it's better for the lifters to do the online training first. You got a truck, you got a gym.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the best. I mean, it worked. Got there, you know, I got to kind of like the starting point, you know.
I had fun with that job too. So
yeah. So when you leave those jobs, because I ran into this. So when I left those jobs and it's all cash, you know, then I got a quote unquote real job. It kind of sucked. Because it wasn't anywhere near as much.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've ever seen the taxes taken out.
Yeah.
I'm like, look what the fuck, I'm working 40 hours in a whole week and I'm making less than I was making in one night.
Yeah.
That was hard to wrap my head around.
Yeah. it was hard to leave. I think I finally left when I moved to California, and
Mhm.
it was getting to the point where I was like, I'm like pushing 30 right now, and these are like 21-year-old kids. Like, I feel old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it
Yeah.
anymore. I wasn't when I can't remember how old I was when I left. It was probably like 22 or 23. It was like shortly before I opened the gym, but I had hit that point and I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
So have you been, I'm sure that you have you been back to a busy bar since then? Like a packed bar like that? And can you deal with it? I can't stand it.
I went back and made your life a pain in the ass for one night.
Well, not that specific bar. I'm just saying any bar that you go into that's like shoulder to shoulder people.
I went to a concert last weekend. That was like when the main act came on. It was at a bar club thing, and yeah, when the main act came on, it was just like way too packed, and I was not happy about it.
Yeah,
I was like, I would rather be somewhere else right now. I had a lot of fun, but yeah, if the packedness was
a lot.
A little triggering.
Yeah. Well, I find when I'm in those situations, I still scan everything, right? Because you're like, you can't like just focus on the concert because you're just like somebody over there, like you're looking for a fight to happen someplace.
I was a little bit on edge.
Yeah, I do that at the fucking gym.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like the same type of scanning. You're just like always like watching. It's like, who's gonna fuck up my stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like more what it is, but it's just like who's not putting their shit away, stuff like that. So it's like I feel like I still kind of scan around everywhere.
Now, you and Pete were training at the gym at the same time with him because Pete said that he's the ultimate motivator, like getting in his face and yelling. For some reason, I don't think that would work with you.
No, we were very different. Like,
you think?
It's a little bit.
Yeah. I think we're like the complete opposite sides of the spectrum of like how to get motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you balance that? Just yell at one and not the other?
You mean me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of have my own. I feel like by the time I was training with you, I was a little older.
Yeah.
Too. So I was like calming down a little bit. I still like kind of have that like fire, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can do it, but like I feel like I get jacked up knowing that it's gonna like help. You know what I mean? Like if your training partner is kind of like somebody that's like wants you screaming in your face and shit, like they kind of have that intensity. Yeah. So it's like you kind of like bring yourself up to match that. And it's like you're just more like internalized. So I just like. Did
you think back then that he wasn't trying?
John?
Yeah.
No, I just thought he was a fucking freak. We didn't think he wasn't trying. We're just confused. We're like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Well, I'm sure you've seen this. You'll have, older lifters around. It doesn't even be a younger lifter, but they don't think that because they're not getting all fired up and screaming and shit, they don't think that they're actually trying. So they think that they're not putting out any effort.
Yeah.
So you never felt that way because they are putting out the effort, by the way.
I mean, like it was different, but I mean, even the three of us all trained together, like a decent amount of times, and it wasn't like it's like I knew that it was. I mean, like at that point, I feel like I had kind of stepped back. Like I didn't really view myself as like the lifter anymore. I guess like I kind of was, but I really wasn't competing. At least I didn't have the focus on competing.
Yeah.
At that point, so it was like in my mind, I was kind of there for. I was more. Not like a coach, but just kind of like a training partner. You know what I mean? Which is like what I am now. Like it's fun to train them because he's fucking crazy good. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's cool to like be around that because it brings you up. But like at the same time, it's like Pete's kind of pacing it. The thing is though, too, like Pete was super, super intense and I'd be kind of yelling at him and stuff like during the set, but like Pete didn't really want you like in his face. Like, there's like some guys, it's like, they want you to like grab, like be screaming at him, like in their face. Like Pete really wasn't like that. He'd kind of like bounce around and he'd kind of like pace. And then he'd kind of go up to the bar like on his own. He was kind of like, he externalized that intensity more, but he was still pretty like internal with it until he got on the platform, I guess, if that makes sense. He was kind of like, it's not like he was really like right next to you to give him like a big slap on the back, like going under the squat bar or anything like that. He was kind of just like off in his own world. And then he kind of just all of a sudden be under the bar, So it's like, I guess in that respect, it's like, you know, like it's not like I was like in Pete's face the whole time or anything. It was more just like if he was on the platform, I started fucking screaming. Like I start yelling when you're on the platform too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just know that like I know how kind of like your intensity works, where like you don't want somebody giving you like a big slap in the back on the way up to the platform, right? Like it doesn't work for you. You know, it's just not something that you want. So it's, I mean,
maybe I go in the face. Maybe the back's just the wrong place. You just gotta whack him in the face. And
no, I don't mind a back slap. Sometimes people like hit me in the back that I don't know, and that like kind of annoys me. Where I'm just like
whatever.
Like if he were to slap me on the back, I'd be okay with it, or like sometimes I've asked him to, like I'll be like, I need like a little extra, like just slap me on the back,
maybe like a little slap on like the shoulder or whatever. Like when I'll kind of like grab you on the shoulders and try and motivate
like I like
you.
that.
Like when you're walking onto the platform, kind of give you like a little slap, but you're not one of the guys that like wants you don't want me to like run up and like smoke you with a fucking 2x4 or some shit. Like that's like, that's like a lot of the guys I trained with initially, it was like, all right, just hit me and like try and fucking knock me out. Like, all right, like
pull your mic a little closer.
Oh, sorry.
No, you don't need to, just pull it closer to you. There you go.
But yeah, like a slap in the face, that like I would just be like,
that's a lot.
I'd be pissed about that.
There's few people that actually do that.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So while you're starting and you're watching Pete pace and do all this other stuff, what are you thinking in your head?
I mean, I think he calmed down a little bit by the time I started training with him. Like, there was kind of the days of like him in his basement where he was just totally crazy. And I feel like by the time I got there, he was a little bit more mature. He definitely still did the pacing and everything like that. And I actually pace myself. It's like if it's a PR, if it's just an RP 8 or 9, and kind of still focused, but like I kind of go through my routine to like elevate my energy like the last, I don't know, minute before a big lift, but just in the same way as Pete, just kind of a little bit more internalized. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like, do what you need to do to get this lift. I don't really care. Like, but I shut it down super quick after a lift, and like I'll kind of go off and like sit on my phone or stuff like that while Pete's kind of still pacing.
Yeah. Are there any, during that time going back, are there any stories that you have, not just of Pete, but just of other people that would come in that were out of their minds?
In terms of like intensity or just like...
Or just training. Usually the ones that don't last very long.
You have kind of crazy stories like Eric pulling like crazy like hack squats.
Eric Bugenhagen.
Yeah.
I trained with him like in his like mother-in-law's basement, like when he was still the strength coach at UW. I just like ran into him at the bar one night and he was like, "Hey man, like I want to train with you." Basically, he was just like hammered. So he just started talking to me. I was like, all right, like I'm not really training with anyone right now. So like, I'll train with you, like whatever, man. Like you look like a pretty big dude. Like, so cool. Like, and I think he had like just finished basically wrestling at UW. So like was probably going out for the first time in forever, just fucking hammered, like talking to me. And I'm like, all right, I have no idea what this guy is like, but like I gave him my number. I was like, if you want to train sometime, just text me. And he like texted me the next morning, like, "Hey man, I'm training today." And we like set some stuff up in like his mother-in-law's basement. It was like this squat rack that was like like one of those like 2x2, like it was probably like a 1.5 by 1.5 like residential racks that like just can't hold 200 fucking pounds. And he's like maxing out on squats out of it, doing rack pulls, the crazy shit. And then he's just doing these insane like, you know, behind the back, like hack deadlifts, Jefferson deadlifts, all that shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But he's just strong. He's just he's just a fucking athlete though too. Like he's like one of those guys that's strong as fuck, but he can move. Like that's something that a lot of guys lose as they get stronger. But like he still can just fucking move. You know, he's mobile. He's strong in different positions compared to like, you know, powerlifters. It's like squat, bench, and deadlift. You're strong in those, but like you get half of them into a fucking lunge position and they're weak as shit. Like I'm weak as fuck if you put me into like a Bulgarian type of, you know what I mean? Like split squat position. But like Eric's the guy that would put, you know, whatever 585 on a safety squat bar and kind of grab the side safety, just spot himself, but he'd do like a fucking Bulgarian lunge with it. Just like, what the fuck, man? Like, and then throw it back into like a rack that
should collapse.
Was not rated for more than like 200 pounds. But it was like awesome though. He'd be blasting like just really heavy death metal and shit. And it was just like he was an intense guy. That was fun. That was like I've trained with like a lot of, it's just been like kind of dumb luck just like running into different people that are like kind of like now all bigger name guys or whatever, and like getting to train with them before they were big name guys kind of. But it's like he was like the most like I feel like if you look at like the old videos of like West Side training and shit, I think he'd probably be the most matched to like that, like the death metal, just fucking smacking the shit out of each other type of thing. Like everyone just going fucking nuts. And then Pete was more like, he was fucking nuts, but he was more like, it was like Pete kind of, I think Pete kind of liked to put on a show a little bit. It wasn't like that, like, I just want to like fucking kill everyone, so I'm just gonna like go into the gym and go fucking nuts for 3 hours. He was kind of like, I want everyone to know that I want to kill everyone type of thing. I guess I don't know how to really
I feel like it probably started as like
yeah,
genuine, and then like he realized that like those videos got a lot of views.
The whole YouTube thing definitely, like, as people fed into it, he definitely like, you know, kind of like that definitely accelerated kind of that like personality or character, I guess, of Pete. And then you were just calm the whole time. So it's like, I feel like when I started training with Pete, it's like it wasn't even that. It was pretty crazy, but it was crazy in like different ways. But like I'd already trained with Eric, and then Josh Quebec, who was, believe it or not, probably one of I think that he was pretty damn close to where you were at in terms of just natural freakish strength. He was crazy. Like one of the first times we ever deadlifted together, he pulled like 585. He hadn't deadlifted ever since high school, and I think in high school he did like 315. But he just kind of walked up to a deadlift bar, because I walked into this like little health club that was in my hometown after high school, and it was like I got to get a summer membership somewhere to, you know, train. And it was definitely not a powerlifting gym. It's definitely not like a good gym. It was just a little corporate fitness center that was close to my house, and they had fucking weights and they had a platform. So I was like, fuck it, I'll make it work. And I just walk in, and he's like, you know, feet are moving while he's benching, just repping out 315 like all over the fucking place. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this guy's a freak. Like, and then I started talking to him and stuff, and it was like, have you ever like thought about powerlifting type of thing? And, you know, pulled like 585 like basically his first time deadlifting, and it was like, let's just like fuck around and like throw you in a suit next time. So we just like strapped him up to the bar and threw him in a suit, and it was like, let's just like see what you can fucking do in more of like a strongman type of sense. He just hitched up 725. We were like, what the fuck, man? Like,
did he go into powerlift?
Yeah, he had a really bad bicep tear that he had to have grafted, and but he tore his bicep because one of his first time ever doing Atlas stones, he picked up a 425 stone. Not like he like went to kind of just try to pick it up to like see if he could, and he like kind of just did, and he like lapped it, and he was like, he kind of looked at like the guy that was basically coaching us at the time, and he was like, what do I do? Like, he was like, fucking load it. Like, I don't know. Like, so he stands up, and like, I think the guy that was coaching us, Kirk, I think was thinking like, okay, like kind of, you know, turn with it and then fucking load it. But like Josh was facing the other direction of the platform because he didn't even think he was going to fucking lift it off the floor. And he stands up with it, like shoulders it, and then slam dunks it into the fucking like into the loading like platform, and just like tears his bicep because he just like overhand threw a 425 stone. It was like just the most freakish thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. But it's, you know, blew his bicep out doing that, unfortunately. So that was.
So if he had the same genetic potential as what John has, then what's the difference between John and him? Why was John able to realize it, but he wasn't able to?
He was more of a football guy. So he was like a college football athlete, and his proportions were very different. Like he had really long limbs. So he was I think he pulled 855.
Yeah. Was that what he pulled at the Wabdal meet?
I know he's pulled 832 in a bigger meet.
I just remember that meet because
he had a really short torso, like really, really short torso. So like squat depth was always hard for him, especially because he was like a geared lifter. Or that's kind of like what he wanted to do or whatever. And then the benchers were tough because like, dude, his arms were fucking long as shit. He's like 6'5" or 6'4". So he's a huge guy with he's more the proportions of like an athlete. So it's like when you've got those proportions.
Are you saying I'm not athletic?
No, you're not athletic.
I kind of think that's what was insinuated.
That's not what I was saying at all.
That's exactly what you just said.
No. He's more like a football athlete, I think. You know what I mean? Just because he's tall. It's just that those tall proportions You're built more like a wrestler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As like an athlete. You're definitely athletic.
I think
but
Josh is just a guy
Josh
that
is just
like
he's a different type of athlete, you know.
he looks like a guy that just like baled hay and then came in and like saw a bar load with like 800 pounds, like, oh, let's try that.
Yeah.
And like could pick it
Yeah.
up.
So his passion for the sport wasn't the same.
No.
No.
He grew up in football. His passion was in football, and it was kind of like, I think it was kind of an outlet after football for
Yeah.
him. And then once he really got injured, then he like had a kid and stuff, and it just, you know, his life just priorities changed. And I mean his bicep tear was really, really tough coming back. It was grafted. It was like, I mean, the scar was like from mid forearm to like shoulder, and it was it was a brutal surgery because he didn't just tear his, like he just obliterated his bicep. It was pretty rough. So he like kind of came back, but I just don't think it was there afterwards, which I understand because I've done it fucking twice. But
When did you know John was different?
we were fucking reverse lunging 405
Oh yeah.
at like 180, and Pete and I were just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on right now? I think Pete put that video up.
Yeah, I need to ask, like, why were you reverse lunging 405?
I was good at
Just to
reverse
see.
lunges, I thought, and I don't know. I just kind of started doing reverse lunges with the barbell as a squat accessory, and then I don't know. I got good at it, so I kept doing it. But I stopped when my knees started getting really inflamed from like coming down on them.
Yeah.
It was before like knee sleeves were a thing too. So
Lunging 405.
yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't so much though. It was like coming down and like hitting my knee on the ground was like what kind of caused a lot of knee pain.
That'll happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking the knee strain, you know, on the other leg from the 405 going down, but it was actually whapping your knee on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're getting depth.
Yeah, that's true. I was good. Yeah, I was good at them.
I think Pete posted a video of that, or it's in one of his old videos. It's in like an old training video.
There's somewhere on the internet that video.
Mhm.
It
I
might
remember because
it might be on my YouTube channel, like one of my first videos.
Did you think at the time that had any correspondence to your lifts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helped my squat for sure.
Well, you don't do them now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or are you are you thinking right now, maybe I should put them back in? I mean, he did just hit a meat squat PR.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess I got away from them for so long. Just kind of gave my knees back to being healthy, and I just never put them back in. And now I realize I suck with doing like he said, Bulgarian split squats. Like I cannot do those. But maybe reverse lunges. I could maybe give those a shot. Oh, I might be on this one. No,
I swear Pete posted the video as like something. It was like introducing John. What the fuck, Haack?
No, please do not play that video.
Was a video.
No, I don't think it was that.
Was that not that one?
No, it's not gonna be this one. It would be one at It would be one at Madtown. Not like the OG Madtown.
The original, yeah. I swear it'd be on. It's probably buried, man. I think it was like in the middle of one of Pete's. You remember Pete used to do those workout videos, and he would like film all of his like assistant sets. Be like a 15-minute fucking video. Like all people wanted to see was his top deadlift set. It was one of those really long ones. It's gonna be buried in there somewhere.
Like it'd be like
that's not the original.
It might be the 505 by 3 squat and 181 video.
On your page or on Pete's?
On my page. From like 10 years ago.
What was it called?
505 by 5.
Yeah. Like if you go to my YouTube channel, no, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's the newer Madtown than the
Yeah.
old. The old one is like literally looks like a big closet.
Go to John's YouTube.
Yeah, just go to my channel. So if you just click on that video and then go to the channel. If you scroll like all the way down.
Way down.
You actually see the first videos were like a cube method. That was like one of my first programs.
You're in a slingshot in one of those.
Oh God. Okay, yeah, so go up a little bit. Yeah, the 505 by 3. I think that one might be.
So it's right around a decade in the sport now then.
Yeah. Maybe not. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
I swear it's on one of Pete's videos.
It might be.
Because I don't think you were even filming it. Because I don't think you even like it even phased you that it was like
It's just an accessory.
Yeah.
unordinary. Like you were just like, oh yeah, just doing. I don't know. I just added weight till I got here.
Yeah. Okay.
We're sitting there like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, yeah, because I remember
you coming up like that was before like we really knew each other, and you kind of that was like one of the first times you like came up to me and you're like, that was like one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was you definitely came in and you were like fresh off like your fucking first meet. You pulled like what 620?
6'11".
Yeah, and like your fucking legs are spread.
Oh my god! Yeah, I
Like-
look like I kind of look like Brian Shaw deadlifting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Also
were
like
wider
a,
than
God,
that.
what do you even want to call that? Like a conventional sumo?
yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking ridiculous.
Mhm.
Just like straight leg, just picked up like 620 at what 181,
Mhm.
a light 181.
Yeah.
So then at what point did you think to start working on your technique? Or that maybe you're a little off?
Kind of never. I just like I was never like, wow, I need to work on my technique. I just kind of kept making little tweaks here and there, and
Mhm.
it eventually evolved into what it is today.
I don't think it was like that your technique was bad. It was your stance was too wide. Like you're still like a relatively straight leg puller.
Yeah.
You don't like squat down. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. I think I just
all that far. Like your hips are relatively high in your pull. That's just what.
yeah. I
your
don't
stance is.
remember there ever being like a moment where I was like, oh, I should move my feet, and I think they just kind of slowly like naturally worked in.
Because it felt better.
Yeah.
What did his if the deadlift was like that, what was your impression of his squat?
I can't remember. I don't know if it was necessarily that like a certain single lift was all
Yeah. I was always
that I
pretty
feel like all
balanced.
that crazy. It's like I think you kind of started training with us, and it was like I think like honestly the first like big impression that was made on me was like just seeing you do the lunges. It was like it was like Jesus Christ, dude. So like we started talking, and then I think shortly after is when you kind of started training with us, and it was like, I mean, then you were kind of talking about your goals and stuff, and it was like then I think pretty shortly after that you set like was it like your third meet you broke the all-time record in the 181s at
Yeah,
that point?
I think
Yeah, I
so.
was like that's fucking ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
it's your third meet, and you broke the untested record before you were on.
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Mhm.
Like it was just one of those things where it's like all of a sudden you're like talking about your goals and shit, and it's like I guess I had never even really looked at what the records were.
So what was he telling you they were then when he was talking about his goals?
It was like
Were they
Wow,
more long term or were they short term?
but they were short term.
Yeah,
They were like
yeah.
short term, but it was kind of like, yeah, like I really want to break like the all time world record. Like I think I can like I think you were kind of like I want to do it like next meet. It was like
Mhm.
holy shit, like then we're start training together kind of I think it was kind of
Yeah.
all like at the same time, and it was like, oh wow, like you actually are there, because it's like you have people all the time tell you they're like I'm gonna be
Mhm.
the best in the world.
Mhm.
Like one now.
Yeah.
Making the claim nonstop. And it's literally a guy that I don't think has ever hit depth on a squat in his entire life. Just
Yeah.
like it's literally a random gym goer that I don't
Yeah.
think can squat 225, and he's
Well, to throw that same question back, what makes him different than all those other people that were just that would say that?
oh, then you actually did it.
Well,
Like then you
I
then,
get that.
like it became clear that it wasn't just like complete bullshit. Like you came in and you just had like the focus to do it. It was like you kind of had a plan. Like you weren't just like I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna like add weight every week until I'm just better than everyone else. It's like that's not what I
Yeah,
mean. But
yeah.
that's like what I feel like it is in a lot of people's heads. It's like, oh, I'll just I've been lifting for like 3 months, and like if I got
put 50 pounds on
stronger
me.
at this rate, like in 2 years I'll be the best in the world. It's like,
Mhm.
it's not how it works.
It'd be
you know? It's
awesome
just
if it
like-
worked that way,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's like, but I mean, like then I think as we started talking, it was like it became clear. It's like then you started talking about your numbers from your previous meet, and it was like, oh shit, like did you break the state record at your first meet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like his first meet, he like broke the state total record that it stood for a pretty long time. From I have no idea how long, but it's like that was
No, because there really was, I don't even know if there was a record because that was like kind of when Raw just started.
I'm sure there was because high school is raw.
They're not raw. No.
Oh shit, they're not.
So what you're saying is
he
he set a vacant record. So it was like some of the masters classes.
I think the biggest thing was when I hit my first meet
was at
Mhm,
your,
in
you know,
USAPL 181, they did like USAPL raw nats like a week before, a week after, something like really close to it. And I think I would have been second or third at nationals with like that first meet. And that was kind of like for me when I was first like, oh, okay, like maybe I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
And then I kind of started thinking like, oh, maybe I could go for like records.
Then how did your intent and focus change after you realized that? More aggressive, more conservative, or just kind of the same?
I'd say about the same. But it just kind of like made it feel like my ceiling was maybe higher. And then I was like, because like for a long time I'd like friends, and when I was like lifting in high school, I had a buddy whose brother went to college, came back, was lifting in the gym, and he's like, dude, you have like really good potential, you should do powerlifting and stuff like that. And I remember just being like, nah, like those guys are like crazy strong, like probably seeing like videos of like you guys doing stuff, and I'm like, I can't do that. And then like seeing what my numbers actually did compared to theirs, I was like, oh, like maybe. And then I guess I was always like focused and really loved lifting. I think that's like a big part of it is I genuinely just love lifting. It's not so much like going for the records and stuff like that. That's like a fun part of it, but I just love being in the gym, where it's like some people just want to be good at something. It's not necessarily lifting that they want to be good at. Whereas like I like it. So
the training's the more enjoyable aspect over competing.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Because there's two types of lifters, right? There's the ones that are just competing, you know, that's the main thing, is to compete and to win. And there's the other ones that's more training based, where I don't know which is better, right? And I don't know if you can control that either.
Yeah, I think you need you need both, obviously, to like get to levels we're at and stuff like that. But like you have to be competitive and want to be better than the next guy, but you still have to just enjoy the process and love lifting. Yeah.
It's like an overstated enjoy the process.
Yeah. And like, I mean, like, I think that's kind of goes back to like why some of these other people that he knows with like similar genetic to me, like didn't make it, is, you know, they hit that wall and they don't love the lifting. So they get frustrated and then they quit. Whereas like, you know, I love the lifting. I want to figure out like, how can I get past this?
Yeah.
And
well, I think it's a big thing because everybody hits that, right? And it's either your lifts just stop going up or you get hurt, or a combination of the two. And that's what puts a lot of people out of the sport, you know, is that.
And I think then like you get a lot of guys that they hit that wall and then their response isn't, oh, I should figure out why I'm at this, or like how to get past this. Their response is, hey, I'm going to get on gear. And then they start like that ticking clock of like, because you can only like, once you switch the untested side, you only have like so many years left, I feel like. And the more you take at that point, the faster that you're going to burn out.
I think if they do that, that's why I had you tell Jacob last night, which is a good story. I got a teenage kid out here. So I had John, what was the question? When should he consider going on?
Yeah.
And your answer was 25, which was older than what I thought. But it's a good answer because lifters need to learn how to overcome those things that you're talking about without gear.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's the first trigger. And then the next time they run into it again, they're just going to take more.
Yep.
Because I think that's the answer. Yeah. And it takes a long time for them to figure out that that's not the answer. Because they still got to figure their training out, recover. There's something that's missing outside of all that. And the doses can just get atrocious to where that's not helping. But if that's all they know, because that's what they did the first time, you know, that's where they're going to go.
Yeah. And I mean, like my suggestion for actually most people would be like, when is the best time to get on? Like probably never. Like, I mean, what are you gaining out of this? Like, unless you're, you know, unless you're like a freak natty, then you're not going to become you're most likely not going to become a freak as an untested lifter. So, you know,
yeah,
like
I feel like there's a lot more competition available for the beginner to intermediate level lifters on the tested side too.
Yeah,
In terms of like
yeah.
local meets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in terms of just what meets are being run, there's a lot more like you go like untested as like an average to like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like an intermediate level lifter that's like just nowhere fucking near like world record or even like state record potential. Like you're going to be going to these meets and like there's not going to be anybody in your fucking weight class. Like a lot of times, you know, you don't even really have anybody to compete against. So it's like if you're really trying to compete, it's like you're almost, you know what I mean? If that's like a motivator for you, if you're trying to go in and actually have someone up there against you on the platform, like that's not going to happen as much.
Yeah, and if you're going to like into a division with like one other lifter to like, I don't know, win, I guess. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to like say someone shouldn't go for like a title of something, but you know, it kind of goes back to like everyone's a world record holder in powerlifting, and it gets like the people that are in the know, like they kind of look different at you if you're like flaunting your world record from like some random federation where you beat like one other person versus like winning like USAPL nationals or something like that.
Without a doubt. So it makes you wonder who is impressed by it. Right, because the common everyday person isn't going to know and not care at all. You know, where the more experienced lifter is going to be, it says all-time world record, and you in the bio, and you're like, man, then you go look, you're like, oh, okay, I see what this is.
It's like all-time world record holder. You're a 181er that pulled 405. Like, something's not adding up here. Well, you drill down deep enough, you know, masters 40 to 45 police fire. There's other divisions I'm forgetting. We came up with like a funny measure of like how good an athlete is. It's the number of like quantifiers you have to put into open powerlifting or something like that before you are
how deep you got to filter it.
Before you're number one.
I like that works. That works. Actually, I think that works for everybody, because if they're a beginner and they go look, they're gonna have to scroll way down, but say it's 28,000. Well, their goal then should be in the top 20,000. Like just chip away through that instead of filtering all the stuff and finding where they're going to look best, which they all do. I'm going to confidently say they all do, because I'm trying to think, are there people that don't? And it's probably not, because it's easy to filter unless you want to filter. God, what did I try to filter a month ago? Oh, the unlimited from the multiply. I was trying to figure out which one had more, but the high school powerlifting is unlimited.
Oh, like how many have more competitors?
Yeah, which division has more lifters? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because half the federations gear will allow a band shirt and the other won't. So what's the comparison here? I just like to know, just out of interest. But all the high school lifters get dumped into the unlimited because they can use slingshots or whatever it's going to be. I'm like, fuck, now I can't filter them out, because it's already filtered as deep as it's going to go with that. So I can never figure that answer out. I'm not going to download the whole database.
It's like sorting through data.
Nerd.
Yes. Well, I had a guy years ago that actually did that, that because I wanted to know how many of our past customers were actually competitive lifters. It's a big database. It's a big, you really need to know what you're doing. I don't.
I would have no fucking.
Well, getting into your last meet, the American Pro, which was what, 3 weeks ago?
Yes,
right?
I believe 3 weeks.
All right, let's pull the videos up there and walk us through your attempts, and then we'll talk about your training into it and what you're going to do after that. So, what is this? Your opener squat?
This is a warm-up squat here. Which, fun story, this was basically like my first squat in about 3 weeks. I on what was supposed to be my second to last heavy squat day, I had a flight the day before, and I got home at like midnight. Didn't really eat too well. Probably should not have lifted, but I was kind of like, I just want to get this lift out of the way. Went for 799, I think, or 792, something around there. And they actually had to save me. I kind of lost all my like tightness. I didn't think much of it at the time. Like I was like, like it definitely felt like I missed a lift, like my body's sore. And then later that night, my knee just like started getting really stiff. And then the next day, or 2 days later, I tried to pull my last heavy deadlift, and I think the knee just like kind of being messed up a little bit. I like put a lot more of my focus on my like hip extension and ended up tweaking my glute. So between my glute and my knee, I couldn't really squat.
Yeah.
So at this time, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to hit in this meet. Like, I was like, I put my planned opener was 705.
So you stayed with that?
I put that in. I was like, I'll warm up. If I need to, I'll drop it down. But I guess like we'll see. And ended up having a pretty good squat. Which
So what was your last warm up then before that?
I think this is 660 here.
Okay.
I believe. So
that felt good enough. You didn't have to change it.
Yeah, it was really weird because like none of the lifts felt good, but they all moved super well. So I was like, well, I guess like I'll just keep going, and I guess we'll see. So opener 705 here. I mean, not much to say about it. It was moved super well. They were giving me shit because I switched my singlet color to black and gold versus the red, white, and blue, and they're like, "Oh, we just switched all our monoliths to red, white, and blue. We thought you were gonna match."
They changed the meat colors.
Yeah.
So that moved super well. Decided to go with the plan. Stick with the plan. 760 here. Again, moved pretty well. It was a little like it felt heavy on my back, but like. It was weird because it almost felt like I wasn't like contracting my quads like I normally would on a squat, but it kept moving super well. So I was like, you know what, let's stick with the plan. I wanted the goal going into the meet was the 2,300 pound total.
Yeah.
With the quad and the glute, I wasn't super confident in it. So I was like, you know what, I hit 760. That's I think tying my personal best at 198. Let's just send it with the 799. Kind of lost it a little bit in going like into the hole, which surprised I was able to recover from it. Came back up with it, and I was super
You didn't
happy
feel your glute at all?
No, didn't feel my glute, or my quad. My knee did kind of like start like tightening up towards the end of the day, and it still is a little bit bugging me a little bit. It's weird because it doesn't bug me when I'm squatting, but like after a squat workout, it just gets really stiff. Yeah.
So right now everything's going according to how you had it planned out.
Correct. Going into bench,
how'd the warm-ups feel?
Bench was it didn't feel the greatest. I didn't feel as like powerful. Definitely this whole prep bench was like the problem child. I did strongman back in July, so I kind of after my meet in February kind of transitioned to doing more strongman training. And that just like really took a hit on my bench. Like when I came back to, I was still benching, but not as frequent. And the focus just wasn't on like building my bench in the off season.
How do you think it took a hit on your bench? Just because you weren't benching as much?
Yeah, just like when I got back to the US from the meet was over in the UK, and I spent some time over in Europe. When I got back, like just benching felt almost like foreign to me, which like really kind of blew my mind because like benching has always been like that movement that like it clicks for me. Like I know how to bench, and like now I'm like that I'm in the off season, it's finally starting to kind of be like, oh, I feel like I'm like benching how I should be benching, because the whole prep I basically like went from the strongman meet, took like a week kind of off, and then I basically had to start my prep for the American Pro. And if I'm gonna redo strongman again, I'm gonna like give myself at least an extra 4 or 5 weeks to do like a volume block, because I think that's what I need to kind of get back in track.
More from a firing standpoint, or you think a mass standpoint? Why do you?
I think firing standpoint, like just it felt weird on my chest. Like felt like my chest wasn't like. It almost felt like the timing of like my muscle contraction was off. I don't know how, like what it was, but yeah, just it felt off.
Now, when you're doing the strongman, did you bench at all?
I benched some. I was like, I feel like it was maintaining pretty good up until in June. I went to China for doing seminars for about 2 weeks over there, and they don't have any strongman. So I just kept benching, and I was traveling like quite a bit, so I didn't really get to like lift super hard, but I was only doing bench, squat, and deadlift. So when I got back after the 2 weeks, I was about 3 or 4 weeks out from the strongman comp, and I was like, shit, I gotta like really get like back in the groove of strongman. So I basically only did strongman for those 3 or 4 weeks, and in that 3 or 4 weeks, it kind of like that. I think that was what like really killed my bench.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so this is your opener here, which is 512. Is that right?
Yes. Which it moved okay, but for 512, I should basically like be able to like throw this up. It just kind of felt like my triceps weren't as strong today, especially like the last couple inches of the lockout. I think that was kind of a weak point during most of the or towards the end of the prep.
So the 551, was that still on your plan, or did you adjust?
Yeah, 551 was still on the plan. I wanted to go 578 to 572. Like 578 was like a good call. Maybe like if everything was moving well, like maybe I could have gone 584. But yeah, it was like 550 or 550. Like I know based on that, I'll know if I can make like a 15 kilo jump, 12 and a half, or 10 kilo. And I was like, 10 kilo is like the least or the lowest I can go to like still feel like I would have a chance to pull for 2300.
Yeah. So the next jump was what, 573?
573. Yeah. So like after this 550, I was like, oh, man, like that didn't feel good. I was like, I could hit like 567. I was like, I could go like up 7.5 kilos. But I was like if I hit that, or if I only do that, then like I'm not gonna be able to load whatever it is, like 931 on the deadlift. So decided to just take a shot at the 260. I was like maybe there's like a 30% chance I can get this, and obviously I didn't. So yeah, pretty disappointed at this point. I was like, yeah, there's no way 2300's there. Kind of crunched the numbers I figured out based on like the other guys, what they were doing at that point, that I just needed to hit my opener deadlift to kind of secure the win. Yeah. And like, I was like, all right, like wasn't the best day. I'll just, kind of take what I can on deadlift. And
so did you change your opener from what you were planning it to be?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like also like for deadlifts, I started kind of crashing a little bit at that point. That was one of the first like untested meets that had like a primetime session. So that was a little bit interesting.
It's faster.
It was faster a little bit, and it was just later at night, which normally they start lifting at 9 a.m. So to start at, what was this, like 3 or 4 o'clock or something like that? Yeah, it was just a different training time.
Now, you cut weight, so you went to 198, so we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Yep.
At this point, did you feel like the weight was starting to, because when you load back, you loaded fully, right?
Yeah.
Did it start to come back off by that time? Because you know how you can,
I did
like
get a little
super
upset.
confident.
Yeah, I did feel a little like upset stomach a little bit. And I think I was like almost like too full at that point. Like my belt was super tight, and it was almost like too tight to the point where like I was like thinking about asking someone if I could get a screwdriver to like open on my belt a little bit more, because I have the Pioneer like paddle lever one where I have like some settings, and for squats I was able to go like all the way tight, and which I normally do, and then for deadlift I usually like open it up like one notch, but for deadlifts here I had to go like all the way open, and even then I was like a little bit like, oh, this feels like a little bit tighter than I'm used to. So yeah, the opener like 826, it felt okay usually, but yeah, again I was just like, the fact that I knew I wasn't gonna hit 2300 and like the missing third bench just kind of like killed my whole vibe for the day.
Yeah, pause it for a minute. So that first one secured you winning, right?
Yes, correct.
So then this one here, how did you determine what to jump on your second? Because
this was always the plan, second attempt.
All right. Because in that mindset, you know what I'm saying? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you just stayed to plan.
Yeah. And I was like, like it would at least like be nice to maybe pull a deadlift PR, which would be like 909, which I think is what I went for next. This was like the plan jump for 909 to like 920 if I needed to. Didn't feel the best, didn't feel terrible, so I just decided to go with the 909. Unfortunately on that one, got to like the sticking point and just like start feeling my quad or my glutes start to re-tear a little bit. So gave up on it. It was kind of one of those ones where like I was like like maybe I could have kept fighting for it.
Yeah.
It's definitely slowing down, but I was like, you know what, this isn't really worth it. Like right about there is when I started to feel it.
All right. So you pulled what 9:15 in training.
Yep.
So that obviously is before, or was that after you had?
It was before. It was the week before. So I was hoping to go for like 9:20 that day.
Yeah.
And basically took those same jumps that I took 8:26. And that was the one that I actually like felt the glute tweak first. And then I really wasn't satisfied with that as my last like heavy deadlift day. So I was like, oh, maybe I can kind of change up my form a little bit and go like 870, which I hit it. It moved well, but I felt it kind of like just like ever so slightly like tear a little bit more. And I was just like, I'm going to shut it down at this point.
So outside that one little hitch, your whole prep went according to plan. Yeah.
Other than like bench, I mean, I wish it would have been better, but like my squat and deadlift prep was like probably one of the best, which like I think that's like also why I was very disappointed. I was feeling really good like 3 weeks out. Like I hit 782 on squat, like easier than I've ever hit it. And I was like, damn, dude, maybe I could take a shot at that squat record, because if I hit that, then I would have all 3 lifts in the total record for 198. So
what's the record on squat?
804.
Oh.
Yeah. So 2.5 kilos.
So you're only
more.
5 pounds under.
Yeah. So I tried 805 at the American Pro last year and ended up tweaking both my quads. So the plan pretty much always was to go to that 799 because like, I'm just like, well, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. I'm a little afraid of that number. And I'd feel confident with the 799, and that's all I need for the 2300.
Last year, were you 220 though?
No, I was 198.
You're 198?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were your takeaways from the meet now that you've been away from it for a few weeks?
I mean, I'm really happy with how the squat went. I'm kind of shocked by it, to be honest. Like going into it, I remember I did an interview with Garrett Fear, and I remember being like, yeah, I feel like pretty decent about where like bench and deadlift are, but like squat, I'm like, I just have no clue. And then a meet day comes and totally flipped. So
that happens sometimes.
Yeah. But now that I'm getting back into like off-season training, bench has been feeling much better week to week, and then deadlift and squat are starting to feel really good again too. Just put my training program on proven strength, and I'm adding actually some of the strongman movements that I felt like did carry over pretty well, because when I did transition back from the strongman meet to powerlifting, I'll tell you what, my posterior chain was like the strongest it's ever been, and my like the number of like accessories and stuff I was able to do, like training was like so much easier. What do you think you did that attributed to help for that? I think just all the movements, all the carrying movements. So I'm using yoke and farmers on my deadlift day, which I probably should have talked about this a little bit on the training video we did yesterday. But so yesterday we benched and did the log clean and press, which I think does help with the building of the bench. It's just like the priority of which one. And then we did a back movement, which the reason we did that on that training day is because normally I do it most of my back stuff on my deadlift day, but because I'm gonna kind of do the strongman movements on my deadlift day, I want to like spread out the back movements throughout the week. Yeah.
Do you plan on competing in strongman this year?
Maybe. I don't know. It's going to kind of come down to how Ghost Clash goes.
And when is that?
That is April 6th, I think.
Okay.
So I've got like a 10-week off season, then about 12 weeks of peaking for that one. If that one goes well, then I would like to take another crack at strongman and go for OSG. And I'd like to get the title of like world's strongest man under 90 kilos would be like a big goal for me. Yeah.
So the yoke from the strongman you're going to keep in.
Yep.
The log you're going to keep in, but then pull out.
I'll pull that. I'll keep it in for this volume block, the 10 weeks in the off season. but yeah, I'll probably pull it out.
What about the yoke?
The yoke I'll probably pull out too.
Okay, so then it will be all specific.
Yeah, pretty much. And then farmer's carry is the other movement I'm keeping in. I'll see how I feel. I might add in the like Husfeld sandbag carry because I think that helped a lot. It's kind of one of those movements so it's just basically like pick up this like 340-pound sandbag that's shaped like a Husfeld, like a tombstone, and just walk as far as you can with it. And it's kind of one of those things where like I enjoy it because it's you have to push yourself.
Yeah,
and it's pretty grueling.
Do you do this shit with him?
I did for a couple weeks.
He did
and
a
then
lot, yeah.
fucked myself up
Yeah.
pretty much immediately, and then it's like, all right, I probably can't hang with this.
Sure.
How much of this prep did you train with him for this meet?
Not much of this one.
No.
I mean, I was there. I made sure I lifted off on bench and spotted and stuff, and like I'm there for the sessions, but like I kind of took a step away from training because I'm finishing off a bunch of different projects at the gym and stuff. We're about to finish like a big brand new locker room that's been a huge, really long project. So I've kind of been just trying to push through that, and basically the plan kind of is that once this locker room is finished, we actually have the space that our current locker room's in is kind of become more of like an office and workspace for us. So like we'll basically have kind of our office in there, but we'll also have like a combo rack and some basic stuff for his training. And that's like I'm kind of at the point now where it's like there's so much going on at the gym. The gym's so busy all the time. It's hard for me to walk through the gym or be out on the gym floor without something coming up that's just going to pull me away.
So that office space is a 1,200 square foot you were talking about.
Yeah, it's like about 1,200 square feet total.
Yeah.
So it's like we're basically going to have our own private space for essentially us to be able to do any type of work that we need to do on our laptops or computers. It'll kind of just be like our space to train in, just with like the basics, kind of like a home gym almost set up in there. And then on top of that, that's also kind of going to be where I'm going to be like prototyping some things, some equipment for the gym, and just like kind of working out some ideas that I've had for a long time and being able to test some stuff in there. So kind of just for us to work on, like we have a couple different business ventures going together now too. So it's like it's just for us to kind of be able to work together on all of our stuff. And then while it's also kind of for me, because then it's kind of a change of environment for me to get out of the gym space. Like I can just focus on training, and I know that we can like fucking padlock the door, and like somebody's not going to come grab me over. Hey, like there's a little bit of water fountain or like a little bit of water next to the water fountain. Like you need to go mop it up like that. I've got 5 other staff members. They can, they can go grab, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's just, if they see me, I'm just the first one to get grabbed, and it just kind of pulls me out of it. So then we kind of have a space to isolate there. And then also, when you're in prep, like the gym's so busy at this point that, I mean, sometimes there's hordes of like college kids that come in that all train together, and it's like, there's just lines we've got 4 combo racks, 2 monos, but there's still just like lines for them. And it's like, we don't want to like have it set up where it's like, if you've got to hit a squat and a deadlift in the same day, like we don't want to go have you hit like your heaviest squat or something like 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out or whatever, and then sit there for an hour waiting for a deadlift platform. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of one of those things where it gives us the ability to just have like an isolated space for his most important training sessions. And then for me to be able to kind of isolate, and then I can kind of start training a little bit more.
So you have 10 weeks to get this set up before he starts his prep.
Yeah, we're basically done with the locker. I mean, the locker room's like putting
like a week
too. Like that.
Oh, okay. So
like, it'll be like a week or 2, and then we'll be able to kind of set it up. We have everything for the room, so it's kind of just moving it all in.
Yeah, we have all the equipment there.
All the college kids moving in.
That's true. And then we'll probably just slowly like make it cooler, make it like painted, and put up some like wall decals and stuff like that.
So what is that going to be?
I don't know, like I have my logo for like my apparel, so I like built a wood panel out of it, and gonna put some LEDs on it, hang that behind the squat rack, and just I don't know, get some.
I'm interested to see what it's going to look like.
I think it'll look cool. Yeah. We'll have some fun stuff in there. Danny DeVito's going to be in there.
I was wondering about that. And the Captain America theme.
Yoda in.
Yeah, Yoda has to be in there.
We got a life-size Yoda.
What's the Yoda story?
I just have a life-size Yoda.
There's no real story behind it.
I won it in a raffle from like a Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like when I was a little kid, and I just still had just like 4 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
It's a life size.
Daughter's scared of, so terrified.
Yeah, my
of it.
daughter's fucking terrified of it.
Really?
And then I thought that it would help to give her, like, I have like the baby Yoda, like right by it. I thought it would help. Like, oh no, it's just like look at the baby one. She was like, ah! It just made it 10 times worse. My wife's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't put it in her face. I was like, I thought it was help. I thought it would help. Like, sorry. But yeah, I just have a life size. Yeah, I got a bunch of weird shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How many other people would be part of this group that you would train with?
Just the two of us are gonna have a key to it. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, like if it's a session where we have another guy benching with us or something, then we'll let him in. But like essentially it's our off. It's like it's our workspace.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an isolated workspace for us to work on kind of ventures outside of Madtown Fitness, basically. And then it's kind of our own just training space.
Then how are you going to keep yourself from between sets, like going to work on an app?
Going to work what?
On an app. You know, because if your desk and shit's already, yeah, like, because now your office is right there with the other shit.
It'll be more like a desktop, so I can just step away from that.
I think like,
I mean,
we're both kind of like, once we're in training mode,
Yeah,
we're training.
if I'm in training mode, I'm fine. It's just that
like I'll answer like an email
or
something like that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna like work on a project.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's not. Well, the reason I asked is because it sounds like you made the place to be able to get away from the gym.
Yeah.
But then you're putting desks and shit in there.
Yeah.
just bringing the shit that's
stuff.
gonna, you know, from the gym in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be other things.
Yeah, it'd be we're basically like we're partnering on a nutrition store.
Yeah.
That we're opening, and then we're also partnering on kind of like a software type venture. So it's kind of like other ventures outside of the gym.
Okay.
And then it's more just people pulling you away. You know, and people want to chat and stuff. It's just like well,
he makes content though too, so that's a whole other thing.
That'll help too. Like, I was talking with them with like shooting videos. Like the way I do my YouTube right now is like I shoot like all my sets in the gym, and then I go home and like, film like a recap, saying like, oh, this is like why I did this and stuff like that. And I was like, I just do not feel comfortable setting up a tripod and talking to my camera in the middle of the gym.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't do that. So like I feel like once we have this private room, I'll be able to do a little bit more like talking to the camera like in between sets and stuff like that, and kind of like give a little bit more in depth of like why I'm doing something.
Yeah,
a certain way.
Well, that would be better content too.
Yeah,
because I think that's what what I'd want to know. That's what people would want to know. Like if you change off your plan, why? Yeah. You know, that's what most lifters miss is that.
Like I try and do that in like my recap, but you know, things get. First of all, I do them like off the cuff, and I dread doing them. I always have to wait for my girlfriend to leave because I'm like I can't do this when you're in the house, babe. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, you're still talking to a camera. It's weird.
And so like I always have to like time it up with when she goes to work and before I go to like the gym, and it'll be nice to not have to worry about that.
Was there anything you had to adjust from training in California to training back at Madtown?
Not really. I mean, he has like a lot more stuff than the gym I trained at back out there. So I'm actually probably doing a lot more accessories now. That's kind of nice. I feel a lot more motivated to do accessories. There's a lot more like the gym I trained at was kind of more like beginner powerlifting gym. Whereas like Madtown has a lot of like, they don't have like any like really big name bodybuilders, but there's like a lot of like good bodybuilders there that just kind of the whole environment's a lot more like intense training, and that kind of motivates me a little bit more. But yeah, for the most part, the training's kind of similar. Like not having like Andy there is a little bit different because like we're doing the same, basically pretty similar weights, so that's gonna, or Ken too. We're doing like similar weights, so like that kind of like competitive push to like, oh, you pulled like 890 last week, like I'm gonna throw 2.5 kilos on, and you know. But we have a few like really strong guys in our crew now that are getting there that like we kind of push each other.
Have you ever run in the situation that he was talking about to where you can't do a lift because everything's being used?
Yeah, a couple times. And like I'm just not the kind of person to like be like, I'm the gym alpha, like give me that bench kind of thing. I did flex it like one time where I was like, hey man, like it's my last heavy day, like can you go use that bench? But yeah, there's a couple times where it's frustrating when you get in there, and especially like the college kids, they like all show up at the same time. It's crazy. Like it'll be like dead, and then like, there's like one time I was just like on my like I did a set, I kind of sat up, like looked down at my phone, like typed something, like it was dead at the point. I looked up and it just there was like 20 kids there. I was like, what the like where are they
all at one time?
Yeah,
you would think they would
carpool.
come in.
Yeah.
They'll shove like 8 of them in a van.
So that's what it is. Yeah. Because you would think it would be spread out because the class schedules are not going to be the same.
The frustrating thing is that, yeah.
But during the school year, it's like you hit like 5 or 6 p.m. and it's just like, boom.
Yeah.
You look up, you're like,
the really frustrating thing is
shit.
when like, so they have like the 4 combo racks. If like all 4 of them are used by like one person and they're all within like 5 kilos of each other with like about the same rack height, and it's just like, come on guys, like what are you doing? That's the annoying part. Like if it's like 3 people on each rack and you know everyone's like lifting together, I'm kind of like, oh, like I should have gotten here earlier or something like that. But when I get there and that's like 4 people on 4 different racks and they're all doing like the same
weight, it's
just like
no, I can see that. And they don't realize that if they were together, it would actually help them all too.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you're not pulling a red off, you know, for sets. It's just changing small weights.
Yeah. It's weird too because they're all on like the same like powerlifting team together. So I'm just like, why'd you guys train together? Like, weird.
I think a lot of them do like SBD days. And they'll do like they'll come in and they'll plan on like kind of just being on a single rack for a certain amount of
that's true.
Like a lot of them take really long rest periods. So I think like it kind of slowly happens. It's like somebody will start squatting and be like on a different, you know what I mean, different weight than like the next person. The next person will come and kind of start at a lower weight, but then eventually like they're all like eventually reach the top set and like they've got like 6 fucking top sets with 20 minutes rest. So they're like just all there for like 2 hours.
They are pretty good about like
if
if I ask them like, hey, like how many sets do you have left, they'll like kind of pick up the pace a little bit. So that's nice. And like the nice thing is I really don't work too, like if I'm in town, I'm not really working during the day. So like I can kind of like train whenever. Like it would be nice to like lift it, you know, when I want to lift. But if I have to, I don't take my pre-workout until like I know I have a bench open. So if I need to like wait 20 minutes and go into his office and watch an episode of Family Guy, it's not a big deal.
So that's how it plays out.
Pretty much. I mean,
I've been watching a lot of Fortune Fire recently too.
What I'll usually do is I'll like walk out and just put like my shoes or something on one of the benches, like when I know you're like on the way.
Yeah,
like we're gonna take this few minutes.
Yeah, he has the cameras in his office too, so like I'll kind of like look and see when a bench opens up, and then I'll kind of go throw my stuff on
there and watch security cameras, and then go take one over real quick.
Yeah.
So there's a process.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got it down pretty good. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Plus, I like the shoe thing. The shoe thing's good.
At this point, we usually train like around like 1 or 2, like when it's pretty dead. So it's
not bad.
It hasn't been an issue. Sometimes like on Saturday mornings, because we usually do like 10:30 a.m. and
that's a busy time.
That like every once in a while you'll get in there and it'll just be like just swamped. I'm guessing it's like away Badger games or something like that. But
yeah, game days no one's in there, but
I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
Okay.
One of the best ways that you can support the podcast and your training is to join the crew. When you join the crew, you get an extra crew cast podcast every single month. You also get access to our Discord, which has a training Q&A with Team Elite FTS members. You get form checks. You can upload any of your training footage and have your lifts diagnosed, sometimes within minutes, by multiple people. Access to close to 30 different ebooks, training logs, and first sign up access to our weekend training retreats, train your ass off, and other events that we do. Biggest takeaways from that though, what people enjoy the most and get the most out of is the training Q&A and the form checks, as well as the extra podcast. Hey guys, I'm back in the gym with another limited edition apparel drop. This is the new Live, Learn, Pass On shirt. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our cambered grip American cable attachment. This attachment has 4 grips and it's cambered. So when you flip it, it actually becomes 8 grips. And if you turn it upside down, there's actually 16. This is one of our most used cable attachments out in the gym. Even got that full range of motion. We got a second limited edition drop this month as well. Head over to EliteFTS.com, pick up the shirt, pick up the cable attachments, and we'll see you next time.
Matt with Elite FTS here at the Armory in Columbus, Ohio. This is a new build, beautiful facility. Should be opening up around November 1st, 2023. Looking at the posterior chain developer, signature version. It's going to have the logo panels on there. Reverse hypers, you can do glute ham raises, back raise, any kind of posterior chain movement you want to do on this piece. This is really good. The best thing about this, so you just step down on the release, adjust it. So it makes it really easy to adjust these, no pop pins or anything of those sorts. So this is the signature posterior chain developer by EliteFTS.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Element, a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. In other words, no sugar, no artificial coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, and no BS. With Element, I love the watermelon. The watermelon tastes freaking awesome. I drink 1 pack every day, no matter what. People that train out here, it's sitting out here for them all the time. The boxes don't last very long. Right now, Element is offering Table Talk listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single-serving packages free with any Element order. Get yours at drinkelement.com/Table Talk. The deal is only available through the link in the description. The other thing is, if you don't like it, you can just give it away to a salty friend and Element will give you a 100% refund. No risk, money back guarantee. Head over to drinkelement.com/Table Talk. All right, so are we back?
Yep, you're good.
All right, so the first thing that we have to determine, because we found the reverse lunge video, so Dan accused John of
lying about
what did you say? Yeah, I was going to be more tactful about it, inflating the numbers, you know, of the lift. But go ahead and play the reverse lunge because it's still, what is it, 335 for 8?
Yeah, this is a throwback. This is when I was doing the cube method, which
Look at the hop though. Damn.
yeah, it was the coming down on the knee there that really
All right,
messed me
yeah, you
up.
can definitely do 405.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Those
no
are
doubt
really
about
fucking
that.
easy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to try it and see if I can do like 500 now.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
No.
We
I don't know if the reward is worth the risk for you at this point in time.
It's funny. I think this was the gym in my hometown, and I can't remember what I squatted here, but I'm pretty sure I used all the 45s in this gym.
Pull the video back a little bit because I think there's a squat in there.
I think I see a 45 right there, John. You're
Yeah.
lying again.
On the squat.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Go to the start of the video and look for, because there's heavy squats. Find the heaviest one.
Yeah, probably here.
You got the thick interlocking big rubber plates too. Oh shit, what the fuck, dude?
Oh,
And you did it
God.
again. Oh shit. That was a little bit better than that first one.
Yeah.
That first one was kind of creepy.
Headphones
I think 'cause that-
angling.
yeah.
You're just like,
I want to see the
collapsing.
hop again. Go to the lunge. The hop is great. You got to bring that back.
I think that bar was just so bad. I was whipping like crazy.
Mm-hmm. That you got to bring that back.
I still kind of do that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you got heavier, so you probably. Well, what do you weigh there?
184.
Yeah, so I guess the added weight you can't get as high anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to go to this channel.
Please don't.
10 years ago. This is great. 405 for sure, though.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, you definitely could.
Yeah, and he's definitely smashing the knee. So I'm gonna say it's a legit story that we heard earlier.
I think like right around when I did the 405s when I got the Ray-Ban knee sleeves and I was like, oh, these would have
Yeah.
helped so much.
Guy coming out of the bathroom has no idea what you're doing either.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure I think like when I'd go to this gym, I'd usually train at like our high school's gym, but my cousins owned this place, and like when I'd go there was like always like one other person that would actually like work out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'd always talk to him.
Oh shit.
Oh my god, please do not watch.
No, let's
box jump.
But yeah, it's like all like older people doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in here, but I definitely ate shit on doing this like this day. I don't remember if I put
Now
it
we
in
have to watch all of them.
No, this is good stuff.
the wrestling shoes too.
Yeah.
Oop.
Almost.
Yeah. Yeah, I clipped it out. I clipped it out.
Okay.
I think I might have shown you it and just be like, hey, you want to see me like eat
I don't
shit?
even remember that.
That still
maybe.
looked about 42, 40. How high? You remember how high that was?
I don't.
It looks about at the height of a reverse hyper, right?
Something like that.
It's definitely getting up there.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of those things at the gym we can stack up.
I can't do that now.
Okay, so going back to the lifters that are probably that age that you were there, that are in your gym now, that you see, because you said they're all in there training, powerlifting crew and so forth. What are some of the common things that you see that they're screwing up? Not programming, well, I guess programming wise too, but you can't really see that.
I think they're doing a lot better.
Mhm.
I think just like the knowledge of lifting's gotten so much better. Like most of them are coached by like Grant, who is coached by Joey Flex. So it's kind of like trickle down of like the information. So and like their programming is a lot very similar to what I was doing when I was working with Joey. Obviously, it's like evolved since then, but
Frequency, higher frequency.
yeah, higher
Okay.
frequency. Yeah, I think they're all trained a lot smarter than I was back in the day. So
They have a much better. They have like a really well structured team now.
yeah, the team's
at
really good.
UW.
Yeah.
That I think is a huge part. Is that wasn't really a thing when I was there. That was like kind of a club, but it was like
Yeah.
So it's the UW team in there in your place.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just most of like I'd say half the team probably
Yeah.
has memberships in my gym.
When both of us went to the school, it'd always be like, I think they like relaxed how they do the process of like becoming like an affiliate of the school or like a club. Because when I went, it was always like you formed the club, you had to be a club for like 5 years before you could like or be like on probation kind of thing for like 5 years before you could like call yourself like a club of the school.
Okay.
And it always happened that like a sophomore, junior would be like all excited about it. You'd make the club and then they'd graduate 3 years later and then like no one would take over and it would just kind of disappear.
Yeah, it
Okay.
would just kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
Or like one weird person would get like elected as like the president and then just like hold on to power and just like bring the fucking club down.
Yeah,
that's like that happened like a couple times.
That kind of happened because me and my friends, we started like it was called the Badger Barbell Club, like hoping it to be the powerlifting club. And I think it was like my 5th year. I was roommates with the president and he graduated. And I guess like the bodybuilding club, like they're like, oh, we should like combine forces. And like he didn't like talk to us at all. He's like, yeah, like whatever, that's cool, I guess. And like they had like 3 members, we had like 15. So we're like, okay, like I guess yeah, you guys can like join our club. And I remember like I was on the board or I was like team captain or something like that. And my other roommate was the vice president. We went to like what was supposed to be like the first meeting, and the 2 bodybuilding guys were just like, well, we're gonna be like the co-presidents. And we were both just like, when did this happen? Like we assumed like we were gonna be like the presidents and stuff like that. So we're just like, you know what? Like screw it, you guys can have it. Like bye. and then that one that one died. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what would always happen. It was always like a pain in the ass because it was like it was like a 5-year probationary period before the university would even like recognize that you were actually a club.
Okay.
So it was like this weird, it was like you had to like start a club and then be able to pass it on to somebody that you could like, even if you started as like a freshman, like you weren't ever going to see it become an official club. So it was just it has to be different now because I feel like it was shorter than a 5-year period for this
for sure
current team to get right. Like at this point, they have like tryouts. Like there are kids that like aren't even making the team that want to get in the club.
And I remember like we could never like use like UW in the name. Like we couldn't use like the motion W, like the logo.
Yeah, like until the 5 years.
I think even like then, I feel like we couldn't use the.
Oh, I guess
maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was after
there under that.
Yeah, but yeah, now they have like team backpacks and jackets and stuff like that. And I was like, God damn it! Like, I wish I was like could have looked like an athlete on campus.
Could have got a little letter and shit.
Yeah,
You know, a little powerlifting pin. to go in the like high school?
I don't think they get the leather jackets, but they do get like the athlete like backpack, like they made backpacks that like look like what the athletes wear on campus. So I'm just like, that would have been cool to have.
Mm-hmm. When you do the seminars, what do you find most common that people need help with?
I haven't done a seminar in a while. I'm trying to think. I guess China, but I mean, I feel like a lot of them have like their form's like pretty decent. I don't see like too much common like, oh, this is like what you need to tweak. I think just the information out there is pretty good at this point. I think honestly, just like kind of teaching them to be like consistent and like the mentality of like, hey, you're gonna hit a wall at some point, and you just like, if you want to like take this seriously, you got to like fight through that wall. And I think that's kind of something that people need to learn. But I can't think of like off the top of my head something that's like really stands out that like everyone is like.
Can you tell with the lifters that are in your club that they're getting ready to run into that wall?
I don't think too many of them are, because like they're college kids, so like, you know, they're making really good progress. I guess I'm trying to think of like,
I think our club's kind of like an anomaly among, like, it's not, I don't think it's very common for like a university powerlifting club to have the resource of like somebody like Grant as a coach.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
No,
that's
I
something
get
that
it.
like, there's no, like, I think even when I was powerlifting, I think it would have been completely different. You know what I mean? In terms of like where I could have gone with it if I had someone at like Grant's, you know what I mean? He's a very high level coach.
Yeah, and Pat coaches a lot of them too.
And Pat, like we kind of just, there's like this little, I don't know, it's kind of just like there's like a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. On top of that too, like if
group, so
they'll like sometimes come up to us and like ask us like questions, and you know, obviously we'll answer them. And so there's a lot of knowledge in the gym.
Because if you go back before that, just with other lifters that have been through your gym, you know, there are the ones that think they're just going to keep putting, you know, 40 pounds, 100 pounds on every single total. And, you know, I can remember some cases where they're not listening, and it's just kind of like, you know, what's going to happen, and you kind of want it to happen.
Yeah.
You know, so they hit it, and then it's easier to communicate. It's kind of where I'm going with, but if they're already structured and that's already laid out from the time they got in it, then they would never, that would be prevented.
Yeah. But again, like most of them are coached by like the same people that are pretty high level, and they, you know, they're kind of prepping them for that, and like they're like, hey, like they're ready for when that happens, and being like, all right, like we're gonna take a step back and like kind of like you're no longer a beginner. We're gonna move on to like kind of some more like longer term training, to where like, you know, we're not gonna be putting on 5 pounds on your bench every week. We're gonna have to like focus on trying to put on like 5 pounds every month, or
just a hypertrophy phase.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's the one thing that I find with the younger lifters is they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's like 10-week prep, meet, find another meet, rest 2 weeks, 10-week prep.
Yeah.
Just
I think the UW team does like a pretty good job with that, where like, I mean, they have like a couple meets out of the year where like they have like collegiate nationals, and then like a lot of them will do like one other meet sometime in the year.
So they're set at 2 a year.
I mean, they're not set at 2 a year, but like as like a team, I think they kind of like compete at like 2 a year.
How has your training philosophy changed over time?
Not much, I don't think. I mean, like I took a lot of what I learned from like Joey Flex. I worked with Jason Manikoff. Took a lot of like what kind of worked for me on those ones, and then just make little tweaks. I mean, even like Cube method, 5-3-1, all those training programs I started with, and just kind of slowly evolved, taking like a little bits pieces of each one, figuring out what worked for me, and now it's kind of stayed about the same. I mean, I guess like adding in the strongman training in this last prep was like a new adjustment, but
now when you added that in, you had to pull things out, right? You didn't just do your normal powerlifting and then stack. Well, this is what other people would do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they would just stack it on top and do both at the same time.
Yeah.
So when you went to pull it out, how did you know what to pull out?
So I guess like, yeah, I was trying to remember who said this. It might have been like Greg Panera, who was like basically like saying that like every day you have like $1 for like for training. Like let's say like a deadlift is going to cost you like 60 cents, bench maybe like 50 or 40 cents, and like a variation of those might be like 35, 30 cents, and like, you know, your smaller less like 5 to 10 cents. And it was just kind of taking something like yoke and farmers and like kind of putting like a value to them and being like, okay, what is this worth? And where can I like take this out to like where the benefit of this kind of outweighs the other movement. And I feel like with deadlift variations, I kind of dread them, whereas like I'm having fun with the yoke. So that's kind of why I slapped it on my deadlift day and kind of took out like a deadlift variation and then just spread out the bench variations or the back variations that I would normally do.
Do you regulate during the training day? You know, because you say you have that dollar example.
Yeah.
When I'll speak to people, I use the example of like a video game power meter.
Yep.
You know, so you want to go into that day with full life.
Yep.
And then that gets chipped after each lift.
I think it was actually you actually like, or you guys posted a video recently talking about how like teaching auto regulation is like one of like a major thing. And I think that actually, like going back to like you asking like what's different about me, I think that is something I learned very early on. So like, yeah, I do auto regulate the day. And like I have on my app like my training programs and everything like that. But like if I'm feeling a little bit more tired down, like it calls for 3 sets, maybe I'll only do 2. If I'm feeling good, maybe I'll do a 4th one. And I'll be like, oh, yeah. like adding a 4th set like feels like it'll benefit me.
Well, last time we spoke, you auto regulate even further than that, because if a lift isn't going as it should during certain weeks of the training, you just adjust what's going to be in that meet based upon that, where other lifters won't do that.
Yeah.
But it's got to be bad. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be bad for that to happen.
Yeah.
But you have the ability, I'm looking for a different word, but the ability to be able to realize that, instead of beating the shit out of yourself, you know, to be able to get that.
Yeah, I think it's important for like, especially like a maybe like intermediate level lifter to like almost like redline their training every once in a while to like feel where you like kind of like take note of like how your body feels like when you're like at that limit where you're like you're tipping into like overtraining and you're like it's gonna like be detrimental. Yeah. And then, you know, kind of like take note of like how you felt just before that, and then kind of use that as like where you like that's probably where you're going to make the most progress is like a little bit right before you you redline. Yeah. Like obviously some days like you're going to want to like, you know, be lighter. Some days maybe even like close to the red line, because like, you know, you do have to like sometimes go to that level in a meet. You want to know how it feels. But yeah, just knowing how feeling like that line is and being able to get close to it without going over it is super important.
Outside of exceeding it, how would you recommend the beginner to intermediate? You know, because it's how do I want to word this? Because if they exceed it, they have to also have the ability to adjust whatever that next day is going to be. Right? Because it can fuck up that whole next day too. Or if it's squat on Saturday and deadlift on Tuesday. Yeah. They got to know how to, you know, dial that back. So I don't know what the question I'm trying to ask is, because some will redline all the time.
I think in that case, then like once you like kind of redline, it might be a good idea to be like, okay, like I'll take a deload or something like that. Yeah. And then like reset. And like now I know like where my body can go from where I'm at. And then like once, you know, even like over a course of a training block, like, you know, towards the end of it, like, yeah, like, hey, I'm going to deload next week. Maybe I can push it a little bit this last week and like push to that level again.
Yeah, that's where I was going, is how for them to deload that. Yeah. When,
and that's where like having a coach is going to like help, especially.
Yes. Now, if you redline, is that what you do now? Right. So if it was, the week before you pulled 915.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, that was the week before. So there's just going straight into the meet. Do you always pull heavy the week before?
No, the 915 was 3 weeks out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes more sense.
Or 3.5. So like normally my last heavy pull is 2.5, 3 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
And my last heavy squat and bench are usually 2 weeks out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what if that doesn't go as you want?
I mean, a lot of the times it does. It hasn't really, I guess, other than like messing up my knee in the last one where like I was kind of like, well, like, can't really, I guess I just gotta let this heal, and I guess we'll see what happens on meet day. If it like doesn't go the way I want, then yeah, that's when you kind of adjust like your expectations of the meet. Be like, okay, like I want like, I start the block with like the idea that like, okay, if I want to hit like, I usually like to hit a little bit more because I'm cutting weight in my last train days. So like, okay, if I want to hit like a 915 or like a 915, 909 deadlift, like deadlift, I can usually, if I can pull it in the gym, I can pull it at meet days. So like I want to hit 915 on that last day. So I feel confident in that number. And let's say I go in, I just fail 915. Maybe it's close. And like, I could be like, yeah, I'm like not feeling the best today. Like, I'll take note of like how I feel mentally and like how I ate, how I slept and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, like if I feel the same way on meet day, I can probably expect the same outcome. Like, so maybe 915 is not there. Maybe I only go like 903 or 909. But if, I like fail it pretty miserably, I'm like, all right, well, like 915 is probably not going to be there. Like I'll have to go like, but like the last one was like 870 and I felt like I had, at least 30 pounds. So maybe like 903 is my top limit.
Gym stories. You got to have some messed up gym stories. Just
you have a good like
for me or for you?
Both of you.
you have a really good
a lot
first Pete workout.
Yeah, that's a good one. I got a lot of good Pete stories, but the first time I trained with Pete was a good one. I'm trying to think of any other ones, but for sure. So the first time I met Pete, I actually met him through a couple friends of mine that I used to study with. Was actually that's kind of a funny story too, because they were identical twins that did a bodybuilding show against one another. And they trained together, ate together, lived together, and they weighed in the exact same weight.
No shit.
And they looked the exact same. So
how's that place?
They literally the crowd started chanting "flip a coin."
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But they were like two really good friends of mine. I think they're both dentists now, which is kind of cool. They're both doing really well. But they had met Pete at this local bodybuilding show, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we like met this kid. He was like the only kid there with like the only person like on stage with like shredded glutes who was just like shredded, but like he was also like 160 pounds. He was like just skin and bones, like super fucking skinny, but that's Pete. He takes everything past everybody. He's like, if somebody else is going to be shredded, I'm going to be like more shredded than they are. So it's like they met him and they were like, oh yeah, this kid's coming to UW next year. Like he's like really into powerlifting. He's got some of these like kind of crazy YouTube videos or whatever, like of him deadlifting and stuff. So like they start showing me videos and like watching this video and it's like he pulls like 660 beltless at like 180, but his back is just like this. Like he just looks like, I'm like, holy shit, that's first off, that's insane. But like second, this kid is gonna fucking kill himself. Like this, like he's gonna this is terrible. This looks so bad. Like, like how the fuck is he? I was like, this kid has like a ton of potential, but like he needs like somebody to like give him some guidance, like type of thing. And they're like, yeah, like he showed up to the show like with his parents, like just kind of like quiet kid, like just doesn't train with anybody, just kind of like is trying to figure it out on his own in his basement type of thing. So they basically put me in touch with him, and I'm kind of texting him. I haven't like really talked to him at all up until the point where I'm going to go drive out to his parents' house and train with him. So like I pull up and it's my first time getting there. So like I call the number, I like call him and he picks up on the other line. He just goes, garage, click. All right. Guess I'm going to the garage. So I'm like walking up the driveway and I just see the garage door like slowly opening. And he's like, he does his like pacing where he's kind of like jumping around like for the squat. He's kind of like just jumping around, standing there in the garage, and it just opens. And I was like, oh, hey, what's up, man? Like, my name is Danny. Like, cuts me off, just go basement. He just turns, just goes in the door. I'm like, all right, man, sounds good. Like, like walk into his like, we like walk into like his kitchen where it's like there's like his kitchen and then there's like the stairs down to the basement. I'm like, his mom, like the only way I can like describe his mom is like
did the front door not work or something? I mean, like, why the garage to the
dude? I have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Just just more cinematic for like.
It is.
Just be like jumping up and down, and then of course, just a one word basement. And he just turns around and walks in. All right, like so walk into the kitchen. Like his mom, his parents are like the sweetest people ever. They're so nice, like and so like calm. And like his mom like sounds just she kind of sounds like the mom from like that 70s show. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, Pete, sweetie, like, do you and your new friend want some banana bread for the drive back to Madison? Like, she's like, Mom, I'm trying to get jacked for deadlifts. It's just like, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, nice to meet you, ma'am. Like, he just like charges down the stairs and I'm just sitting there like, holy shit, this kid is insane. So I go down the stairs and I'm like trying to like talk to him like, hey man, nice to meet you. Like, I'm Dan, like type of thing. And he's just like, yeah, bro, like fucking, I'm so fucking jacked up to deadlift. Just Pete being Pete, basically. And then he just goes on this, he starts going on this huge rant about how he's like, bro, like all the kids in my grade, they're all just like going out on the weekends, like they're getting fucking wasted, dude. They're all just like getting wasted. I'm trying to fucking deadlift 1,000 pounds and these kids are getting fucking wasted. And he's just like getting himself all jacked up. And I'm just like, yeah, man, like sounds like a good goal type of thing. Just like trying to like have a conversation with him. And he's like hits the stereo and the song is Get Wasted by Gucci Mane, which is just like blah, 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 get wasted. It's just like, and he just starts screaming to himself, like, they're getting fucking wasted. I'm going to fucking deadlift 1,000 pounds. And he's just like running around his basement and like the room is small. So he's just like pacing back and forth. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is going on right now? This kid is having like a meltdown in front of me. Like, he's just, and then he just like trained me in the fucking ground. He just destroyed me. I just like could not keep up with him. It was insane.
So how'd that end?
I don't know.
Did he normalize at any point?
No, I trained with him for 3 years. It was great.
Well, that day,
but like, man,
I mean, is he pacing when you
like,
leaving? Like, get the fuck
like,
out of my house.
No,
Door.
So like, I gave him a ride back to Madison. So like, I had told him like, hey man, I can like drive you back to Madison. So this whole time that this is like happening, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like I'm gonna have this kid in my car. Like, but he was just so like through the roof jacked up, and then he just, basically, I mean. He like kind of calmed down a little bit after deadlifts. He was just so fixated on the deadlift workout that he like wasn't even like communicating with me really. So like we did the deadlift workout, I remember it being a good deadlift workout, but I remember after that, then he gets onto this glute ham raise that's like one of those home model ones that's just like rickety as shit. And he's got like a strong band behind his head and he's doing sets of like 30. And I'm just sitting there like, I can't fucking do this. Like, there's no fucking way. He's like, dude, he was just wrapping insane amounts of band tension around the back of his neck and just wrapping glute ham raises. And like, he just like trained me into the ground. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, who the hell is this kid?
I think my favorite was like his squat rack being in front of like that cabinet with all the like random knickknacks.
Oh, the
like,
beautiful knickknacks. It's like, oh yeah, and like when you walk into this room, it's like the washer and dryer room. So it's like that like iconic room. All of the walls around, like I'm like, once again, it's a little room. Yeah. There's all these knickknacks on the walls. There's no like open space. There's like these little like antique like lumberjack saws and like corncob pipes and shit and like all this random like antique stuff just everywhere. And it's just like it's like the most hilarious setup for this kid to just be going nuts in. Like
the fact that it's like Pete, who's just like so intense, like in this environment is just like the funniest thing.
Yeah, and then his dad just super nice too. Like Pete would just be like, Dad, I just fucking killed it on 800 fucking deadlift, bro. And his dad would be like, that's wonderful, son. Like, that's fantastic. It's just hilarious. Like he's such a polar opposite of like his parents. He's just so jacked up all the time.
And then he brought that into the gym.
Oh yeah, that intensity, it all just fucking translated basically.
I remember my first time seeing him. It was at the Surf, the UW weight room, and
he would do that in like the gym public. Where like he'd be like just as insane.
He'd be yelling.
Like,
he'd do like a set of like 500 for like 15 on box or like 20 on box squats or something like that, and just yelling the entire time. And we're just like, what the fuck is going? Like I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was, and I was just like, what? Like I thought I was like the strong guy at the gym, and then like I see this, I'm just like, what is going on right now? This is like this guy's insane.
It was awesome. Yeah, just be like just rounded back, repping out 500 on squats.
Yeah, yelling.
Yeah, just insane. And everyone else in the gym's just like, what the fuck is this kid doing? I'm just like confused. Oh, it's awesome.
Did you ever have anybody come up to you and complain about it?
But he would take over the stereo at the gym sometimes, and he would just like restart the same song like 10 times in a row when he was like about to do like a deadlift set. And then people would be like, dude, like you just play a song. But that was the only I feel like no one ever really complained about it. Everyone was pretty like, I feel like people received it positively at my gym, you know, because it's like that's what they wanted
at that time like, too. Yeah, it was like it was kind of all the guys that were just like.
Yeah, it was really just a powerlifting gym when it opened up. And then I kind of crossed over into like more bodybuilding stuff as well. But like it was a straight up, everyone, like the people that came to my gym first, like that first kind of crew, it was like they wanted like an intense powerlifting gym where they could just like do whatever they wanted to, you know what I mean? Wanted to do. Like, it's still kind of like the only really rules that I have are basically like clean up after yourself and don't become a danger to anyone else. Like, and as long as like you're doing that and you're not gonna fuck up somebody else's workout, like you can kind of do whatever you want.
Well, it sounds like you need another one of them for when all those kids are in there with all those SWAT racks full.
Yeah, we need an enforcer.
So you need like like a Pete, you know, an enforcer just to come in.
Who was it that like famously was like, you know that I'm coming in on this rack, Captain Kirk. It was like, I'm coming in on this rack at
5 minutes.
5 minutes or 45 is coming out of your head. Like we need that. I feel like at the second location, it was we kind of had that with the Forza bench on Saturdays at like 10:30. Like we had a pretty solid crew where it was like most people knew like, hey, do not be on this bench at 10:30. Like every once in a while, you kind of get like some guy that like doesn't normally train there that would be on it, and I don't know. Dwight and Mike would kind of maybe get in their faces a little bit. I was kind of just like, just like let it finish real quick. But yeah, now it's kind of, you know, you can't really get away with that. I feel like
at the time we only had one real like good comp bench. Too. It was just like a different time for the gym. Now we have, five elite comp benches. We got 4 combo racks, 2 monos.
Yeah, so
6 cages.
There's options.
Like
how big is the gym now? Is it still 20,000?
Yeah, it's like 20,000 square feet.
And is it full? I mean, can you still fit more? That's my question to any gym owner. Can you fit more? Because
depends.
Look around.
You're asking a logical person, or if you're asking me.
Well, you.
I can always fit more.
Because you can always fit more.
I can fit 5 times more members.
Yeah,
that'd be nuts.
Yeah, definitely not 5 times more members. I mean, yeah, you can always move stuff around if it's something else.
Oh, I know.
You can always figure it out, but
I look around here all the time. I'm like, okay, if that can turn this way, you can always fit more.
Yeah, for me, it's more like looking at if anything, if we fit any more, it's going to be more like combo racks first, more deadlift platforms, more. It's kind of like we have a ton of stuff, and now we're like at the point where it's like all right, our kind of like the bottleneck in terms of like what we're lacking in compared to the demand is probably like combo racks and, some of the free weight stuff, probably deadlift platforms and combo racks. So it's like, that's where I'm like, okay, how do we figure out getting more
deadlift platforms kind of suck.
Yeah. Like most of ours are kind of set up as like we've got your, I forgot what they're called. The
full racks,
the highest level rack with like the stainless signature racks. with the platform built into it. So it's like there's a platform in front of it. People are really good about sharing that space. Like somebody will be squatting and then someone well, yeah, you don't have to. That's different. You're also training with me, so
you're gonna have your own room here in a minute.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'll be fine. But like then you'll have somebody deadlifting, somebody squatting or whatever, but it's kind of like a multi-purpose type of thing.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to get it to the point where like our combo racks, if we can get more of them, we just have basically like a raised floor around that whole area so that people could drop a bar because all the calibrated plates are lined up there, and then it becomes kind of the deadlift area as well. But I mean, we'll see what we end up going to. It's kind of always like a work in progress of trying to figure out what's getting used more than you know what I mean? Like what there's kind of like a wait for sometimes versus what's not getting used as much. But at this point, like almost everything in the gym gets used. So it's tough to figure out how to basically create more space.
Yeah, I'm definitely at the level where like whenever he tells me like, hey, you want to go like help me pick up this like all the equipment this week, I'm just like, okay, like where's it going?
Where's it gonna go? Yeah. It's gonna go in the DeVito room.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or the Yoda room.
Yeah.
Which one's bigger? Yoda or DeVito?
About the same size.
Yeah, about the same height.
About the same.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta figure out
Yoda's a little more hunched over. If
It's
Yoda
true.
stood up straight, he could probably
Yoda has
have
depth to him too. Yoda's
So
like a whole
Yoda's bigger.
statue, whereas DeVito's just a cutout.
So the Yoda room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who's more powerful, DeVito or Yoda. Like,
Yeah, DeVito's got the star
I
power.
would love to see Dan DeVito do like a lightsaber kid recreation.
Pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
Now I'm trying to figure out who would win in a fight. Danny DeVito or
Well,
Yoda.
if Yoda was real, Yoda definitely would win a fight.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have to do anything except mental tricks.
Yeah.
So if he couldn't do mental tricks, assuming Yoda's a he,
Yeah.
you know,
He's a he. Yeah.
Yoda's a he. It's just Yoda. No mental tricks. I think DeVito's got it.
Yeah. I feel like DeVito's he's spry for his age. I hope he sees this and he's like, yes, I would take Yoda.
You don't know? If you had to bet, who would you bet on?
See, I feel like Yoda would be a very
I don't
strong favorite. And like the odds of like DeVito winning would be like really low. So I'd just be like, I'm going to put $20 on DeVito. And then like, if I lose, I'll lose $20. If I win, I'm probably like a millionaire or something like that.
Depends on like which Yoda. It's like towards the end Yoda where he's just kind of chilling there and he's
Yeah,
like,
he still lifted the
sit
X-Wing.
here. Yeah, but
So he still had,
like he
abilities.
didn't have the fight in him anymore. I don't know.
Ghost Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like,
Well, we'd have to ask
lay
which
down and
DeVito are we
die.
speaking about, too.
What's the strongest DeVito? Trying to think of his movies.
toe knife DeVito.
Toe knife.
Dangerous one.
Mhm.
He's got his gun
That's a good
too.
one. Yeah, that's a fucking unhinged DeVito.
Yeah.
He might not kill a Yoda, but he's gonna kill somebody if he's got a fucking toe knife and just firing a
Maybe
gun.
if we went with like twins Yoda, he could get like Arnold Schwarzenegger would just like freak out and kill a Yoda for him. Like you
Yeah.
try to like you're attacking my brother.
Matilda DeVito.
Oh yeah.
She's got the
She's
mind
kinda got the
tricks.
Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's probably a Jedi. It's like, there's Jedi daughter to protect him. It's
he-
possible.
He has such a good catalog of movies.
What would be your favorite?
Ooh. Twins is up there. Trying to think of what else. Him and Always Sunny is I think
Mm.
his
Yeah, it's
peak.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have to look at his IMDb.
Pull it up.
It's got to be Always Sunny. Always Sunny's probably the best character, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely
In
his
terms
best
of our
character.
sense of humor.
Yeah. Danny DeVito's IMDb.
Oh, the Batman.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Penguin, yeah.
Shit.
That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
one.
yeah. I
Fuck.
forgot about that.
Penguin versus Yoda.
So
That's just this year.
Wow.
That's just this year?
So
Wow.
that's from 2020 at the bottom, going up. Jesus.
Well, he's got Yoda just on quantity.
Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji's good.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Simpsons. Borat.
I don't remember him in Reno
it's like a
911
thousand
Miami.
fucking movies.
I don't either. Who's he in? Oh
Austin
yeah, he's
Powers?
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, him
Men
as
in Black.
Phil and Hercules.
Space Jam.
Is he in Space Jam? Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember him in Space Jam.
Oh, he's a voice.
Batman
Oh.
Returns. He was the Penguin.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
yeah,
probably
yeah, I think it's probably going to be the Penguin.
Twins is only a 6.1. Jesus Christ, that movie's a masterpiece.
out of 6.1.
It better be.
I had no idea he's in that many films.
He's a machine.
There we go.
Yeah, I think it's Batman.
Yeah, that would probably be his strongest like live action character.
Yeah, Yoda's got like 8 credits.
Yeah, look up Yoda's IMDb.
Yoda. Yeah, that's fucking terrifying. That guy could fuck.
Oh
you
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's got Yoda for sure. That's
Definitely
yeah,
got him.
so that's definitely something we need to see.
Which Yoda cut out?
Oh, he has like a full statue.
Statue?
It's
Yeah.
life size.
Wow.
Look up like a Blockbuster Episode 1 Yoda statue. That's what I have from a Blockbuster raffle. Bet you find one. That's it.
That's it.
That's
That's the one.
Yeah. 30
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Hold it. It's an investment.
That might be worth more than any piece of equipment you stick back there.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
he's got a cane and shit. If DeVito,
Yeah.
yeah, Penguin's got that for sure.
So it came from that.
Yeah.
Yep. I won Yoda
I'm impressed.
because I cheated.
You have
on
the
a
cane,
raffle in,
too?
like 8th grade. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Got a cane. Put hats on him.
Yeah,
He's got sunglasses right
Yeah,
now.
he's got sunglasses on.
It's cool, Yoda.
yeah. And now as a powerlifter, he'd have a big deadlift. Man, look where his arms are.
Yeah. He pulls sumo too. Bar won't even move.
Who just
Yeah.
used the force?
Be amazing.
You just pull the slack out of the bar and it's done.
Yeah.
Right?
Won't even
I still think that's going to happen one day, by the way, with the Kabuki bar.
surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you only need like one more red, like 1,200. It's not coming.
I always wondered what there was one lifter. He was like a USAPL guy. You remember Mike Coons?
The name sounds really familiar.
He was a like an actual little person, but I was
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
why does
yeah,
he just
yeah,
pull sumo?
Yep.
Like he doesn't even have to leave the ground. Like
I wonder how you would judge that.
I think,
yeah, I
think it
always
has
wondered
to.
about it. I was
I
like,
think
is
you'd
it-
have to like put mats under him at that point if it's like not leaving the ground at all until like it does.
Yeah.
I was like, I always wondered like what would happen if he did.
Because
just
that's what
pull
they do in
sumo.
like the silver
Like-
deadlift. Because like
yeah. Yeah.
like if it doesn't leave the ground, they like start staying on like mats until it does. I think.
Yeah. I'm still thinking at some
You
point.
should have
in
just
time.
waited and just busted it out at Worlds. Just
I'm actually
It was like,
surprised we haven't seen it yet with a Kabuki bar because remember
It's
when people would put
close.
the
It's
rubbers.
close with like
Yeah.
Dan Grigsby.
Well, there was a time people would put all the rubber bumpers on first and the hundreds on the end.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pete started that. I
Did he start that? I
Oh,
bet
yeah, he
yeah,
definitely started that. Dude.
Yeah.
I was like, Pete, like I don't know if this is gonna translate to the meat, buddy.
that might be something for your YouTube right there. Is load that up just to see if the end plates would even come off.
I don't know if you'd have room on the bar. You're already like pretty fucking close by the time.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
Kabuki bar
it
doesn't
would for
have
me, 'cause
that
I
much-
have,
Yeah,
I have like a bigger range of motion.
you got a way bigger range of motion,
Yeah.
so that's not going to work. You'd have to be sumo and way
Yeah.
out there.
There's got to be
it's
someone that
fucking
could.
close, man. It's getting there. A lot of the women, I feel like there are women that are really close. Like
Yeah.
now,
Do you notice what bar did you pull on in the American Pro?
It was Kabuki.
Do you notice a whip at the top?
Not too much. I know a lot of people do, but
Mhm.
I mean, I always pull with the Kabuki, and I feel like whip doesn't get me too
Mhm.
much on any bar.
It
I think
seems
that's more of the sumo guys.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a balancing at the top. It's
it almost
like,
looks like
it
3
almost
poles.
You see, I'm actually just strong, so
Yeah. Well, you got a greater range of motion,
Yeah.
right? And you don't cheat, so
Yeah.
it's
I'm
conventional,
just kidding.
right? Because the sumo's cheating. But it almost looks like 3 poles for them. You know, like the first one's just getting all that slack out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the second's like right to like knee,
hmm
and then the third is when the bar wants to come back down.
Yep.
Yeah.
That kind of pulls them forward.
hmm
Yeah. They got to bring their shoulders back so they're not just dumping. I think that's what basically happened to Dan Grigsby at.
Yeah, but I think this is like an
Yeah.
only Grigsby problem.
hmm
You know, I think you need 1050 on the bar.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
I think he pulled like 1030 or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I remember watching that one. And then I think it was, I can't remember what his last attempt was or what his heaviest attempt was, but he like
Did he
got it up and it was like you could just see the whip.
Yeah.
Did
It
he
was
hit
like,
the 1030 or did he miss it? I think they gave him 2 reds.
Maybe he missed
I
it.
think he missed it.
Yeah,
He
I think
probably missed
970 was his best.
Oh yeah. He
But
only
he-
hit his opener, but
yeah.
like he pulled the other 2. He like pulled, but just
Yeah,
it was like the whip just fucking through him.
I thought his second. I was like, oh, like that could have gone like
Yeah.
either way. I think the third. I was like, yeah, that like I could see that. Would be,
Yeah, I'd have to be on the side on the second to
Mhm.
really, or there,
yeah.
right? Because it was just like soft knees or something like that, or shoulder. It was,
Maybe shoulders forward.
Yeah, I think
because
it was
I think it
got
was more shoulders for it. I think it was
might have been, I can't remember off the top of my head.
yeah. Do you feel a big difference between that one and the Texas bar?
It feels better in a Kabuki, but I mean that said, I think I'm trying to think. I pulled 915 both on a Kabuki and a Texas,
Mhm.
so like absolute strength wise, I guess not really. I mean
Yeah.
the 915 this past prep was a lot smoother on the Kabuki than it was with the Texas, but I also felt a lot stronger. So
Obviously, you know the bar before you go into the meet. So how do you use that bar the whole time, or because I know some will avoid it because it's sharp as hell.
oh yeah,
Not a
I don't
problem.
have an issue
the
with that.
Kabuki is sharp.
Mhm.
I feel like the Texas are sharp too. If you
If you have a new, I think they're like if you have a new Texas or a new Kabuki, they're both
Yeah,
sharp.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the one at the meet was
general.
really sharp. My hands like for a week after almost like kind of that sore where you're
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, that definitely
Oh, that's good.
dug it in my hand.
If they're using new bars for the meet, that's a good thing. Or
Yeah.
at least slightly used.
Yes, slightly.
Slightly used.
Because for Ghost class they use a new Texas bar, like
Yeah.
ran out of the case and then had like some
The
oil.
oil. Yeah,
or
I know
something
that
on.
would suck.
Yeah, and I lost like my grip at the top. It like was super annoying because it was moving super well and then
Mhm.
just all of a sudden just popped out and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
the guy
sucked.
before you bled though really bad too. So they had to
Yeah, they
had
cleaned
to
it
scrub
off.
it down, and it's always tough to get.
hmm
You know,
It's like
you
whatever
got to use like
cleaning.
Lysol or something on it to get.
Yeah,
'cause,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
The guy
'cause,
bled
yeah.
all over it, and then they had to like scrub it off, and
Mhm.
they were. I mean, they did their best to get it dry, but it's like it's just a tough situation at that point. Like you can't
Mhm.
leave blood on the bar.
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
even on my second,
could,
I
but-
felt it being like I was like, oh, like something feels like that's on that bar
Mhm.
that's making it slick.
Mhm.
So.
Any other topics you guys want to talk about that I didn't bring up?
Not that I can
Actually,
think
I
of.
do have one. Actually, 2.
Okay.
You talked a little bit about the glute injury. How do you normally train around or through injuries?
So that was like kind of an issue with this prep. Well, like the last 3 weeks was the fact that it was like both my knee and my glute. Where if it was kind of like one or the other, in that case, I could kind of like go lighter and almost like shift the weight a little bit to like one side or like forward or back to like kind of like take a little bit of the pressure off that like
Mm-hmm.
the knee or the glute. But because it was like right knee, left glute, if I like shift to like one side or the other, it was causing issues on both of
Mhm.
them. So that's kind of why I didn't really squat much or deadlift for the last couple of weeks. But that's like one method is kind of like change up the form a little bit if I have an injury. Going back last year around this time, I had like the pretty bad like quad tear coming off of the USPA Pro, and that one kind of lingered for quite a while, almost like my entire off-season prep. And with that one, I just started doing like higher box squats to like keep the weight on my back because it was really like in the hole where
Mhm.
my quad was like very stretched where I would start to have issues. So find a variation that doesn't cause injury, and then also kind of like keep that for like keeping my body used to like heavier loads, and then like still doing like full squats with pretty lightweight to where I'm still getting like the stretch and like actually still doing the movement in that full range of motion, but not gonna cause it to injure.
Right. So if I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, you train through it in a way that's not going to aggravate it, but then still keep the full range at lighter weights to
and
keep the timing and technique and shit.
Correct.
Like
and I mean, it's going to be like injury to injury, like, you know, some like if it's like a really bad injury where like I can't train at all, you're just kind of screwed. But as best you can, just kind of feel it out, and I'll get like deep tissue work done as much as I can if I'm injured, and then trying to think there's any other like recovery stuff, like I don't know, just eat, sleep, rest, and
you've been competing for a decade, we determined earlier. You can't get away with the same shit now as you did 8 years ago even. So how has the sleep, nutrition, and just the basic recovery changed as you've gotten older, or as you've accumulated more training years? Because older is
it's gotten a lot better. Like I think especially in this past year, like my nutrition's gotten is probably like the thing in the past like year or so that's like taking the biggest step up. Used to not really eat too many vegetables, and I definitely started doing that. He kind of got me on the like frozen vegetable, like steamable packets, and I was like, oh man, it's like those are convenient as hell. And like,
that nutrition degree pays off, right?
I was like, oh, I'm actually eating like broccoli and stuff. Like, what is this? So nutrition's like the biggest thing. Plus, like not working quite as much. I have time to like wake up and actually like make breakfast. I still meal prep it a little bit, but like the breakfast has gotten a lot better. I'd say like adding in focusing on fiber was something that I changed this year as well.
Do you still have the same job now, or is it all your own company?
I still have the same, I guess. So I was working for this company, and I left them during COVID. Like I got laid off because like the system that I installed just kind of died down for a little bit. I started working with our partner company that does like the chemicals for this industrial laundry, and I didn't like it as much. So my other company, when like COVID ended and they started picking up again, they're like, hey, like, do you have any interest in coming back? And I was like, yeah, actually that would work out well too, because I want to move back to Wisconsin where they're based. I mean, that's a job where I travel all over. I can do anything I want, or I can kind of live wherever. But I was like, it'd be nice to like live in Wisconsin. So I came back, I started doing that job, and then about like 6 months after, they ended up selling the rights for the product to the chemical company, the sister company, and
that you were with,
that I was with. And so now what I'm doing is like contract work for them, where like maybe like two weeks out of a month, they'll be like, hey, we have like an install, like would you be able to come do it? So I kind of make my own schedule in that sense. Or like they're kind of like, hey, are you available this week? And I'll say like yes or no, and we kind of have flexibility on both sides.
So you're able to pivot all that around your training if need be.
Yes.
Okay.
So like
so now you're going to work more than what you did in the past couple months.
Yeah. So like I took like the 2 weeks before the meet basically off. I was supposed to be off. I actually was out in Dayton for, doing some like, but it was like really pretty low impact work. It was pretty easy work. So I was just like, yeah, I'll come out. But yeah, I work my training around that. Basically I'm like, hey, I want to be home on weekends. So I put my heavy squat and bench day on that day. I'll kind of like scout out the place a little bit beforehand if I go on a trip to be like, all right, this is like a good gym in this area. Like I can deadlift that. Like I know they have at least a Texas deadlift bar, so I can deadlift if I need to. They have a good bench, I could bench. Or like if they don't have either of those, I might like kind of double up my workouts or like my main movements and like do them at Madtown.
Yeah, squat seems to be the only one that would be tricky to try to get in somewhere else.
I feel like squat's actually one of the more easy ones.
Really?
Yeah, because it's always my like kind of lighter rep day where I'm like, as long as it's like an okay bar, it's not like an Olympic lifting bar with like no knurling in the middle. Like I can do a power bar. Like
Mhm.
I actually prefer to go out with a power bar personally. But so that one, it's kind of like, as long as they have a squat rack that can handle like, I don't know, 600 pounds, which I feel like is most places.
Yeah.
Then I'll be fine. But actually, there was one time I was on a work trip and I was went to some random gym and I was squatting and I had like 550 on the bar at the time, and I looked down and like there was a little like weight capacity like 350 pounds. I was like, oh shit. Survived it.
But
But
you didn't pull Sullivan where the bar bends on the way up.
no.
Yeah.
What a shit bar.
No, Jesus.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, I can work around my training. I can adapt it pretty well, as long as I like kind of get in the main movement, and then I can feel out the accessories if I need to. Like if they don't have like a T-bar row,
Mhm.
and my training plan for that day calls for T-bar row, I'll just change to it on the back movement. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Because the question I asked the last time John did Meadows did an interview, or sorry, not a seminar.
Yeah.
At my gym, I asked him this question. I know what his answer was. What's the craziest training session you ever did?
With him?
I would assume it was probably with him or in general. I guess both.
Well, bodybuilding.
I'm just
yeah,
curious which ones
yeah.
you would say.
Bodybuilding wise, it would be with him,
Mhm.
and it was in the middle of the summer, so it was just hot as shit.
Mhm.
And I remember we planned beforehand what it was because there's challenge sets like on everything that we were doing. And I can't really tell you exactly everything we did. The leg press was an upset with a down set, you know, so basically there's no warm ups. You just start with a plate, you do 8, throw a plate on, do 8, throw a plate on, do 8, and go all the way up till you can't do 8, then come back down, you know, so that would be one set. So there's like 3 of those.
Jesus.
And then, you know, other shit that would precede that. But I remember that in between sets, we would have to stick our hands in ice buckets, you know, just to cool off, and then have ice packs, you know, on the back of our neck and stuff like that. So there was that one I remember. There was shortly after that, there was one I did by myself, and it was a leg day, and I was just trying to match that same stuff. And sometimes you get in your head, you know, on leg days and shit like that. And I passed out and woke up, shit myself. And you know, I woke up and shit and piss and all this other stuff. And I remember calling John and telling him, because I was so proud of this thing. And you know, that turned into a whole different conversation later. I remember him telling me, you're not allowed to train legs by yourself ever again. You know, so there was that. Powerlifting wise, it's a little different, you know, because that's more just those stupid days where you miss like a suspended good morning, and your dumb ass thinks you can do it, and you keep trying it. And like after 9 times, and then say on the 10th time you get it, then you go home even more pissed that, you know, like why in the fuck did it take that many times? But I'd say that thing with John probably still was the hardest, because it was after that we said, we can't keep scaling this up. It was like 3.5 hours of shit like that. What did John say?
He mentioned 2. He mentioned one where he said there's a video somewhere where you guys were doing it was probably the same type of scale, crazy shit. And it was like what you were doing at the time was deadlifts. And you like basically like collapsed after a set of deadlifts, and he just kind of looked at you, just like stepped over the top of you, and then he hit his set, just like left you there. Yeah, you know, that's that one is out there somewhere. It's a high rep deadlift with chains, and you know, I'm like, you can't fucking breathe. Yeah, that's what fucking pissed me off so bad. You know, because he's a bodybuilder, his lung capacity was better. I'm doing cardio and shit, and it's like, and he's shorter, and there's a lot of advantage. And I got more chain, you know, and all this stuff, and he just stepped right, you know. Stepped you like UG said it. So there's another one where it was, I think it was him, Ken Jackson, myself, and there was this other dude, and we were going through a leg session, and the other guy threw up in a bucket, you know, and he's filming us doing this. So he's filming like John doing his set, throws up in the bucket, and then, you know, keeps filming the set.
We don't know until after the video's posted that this guy actually threw up between sets and just kept going. But yeah, we would throw up, and I probably more so than John, and just keep going. It was just a normal thing with that.
Yeah, the only one he mentioned was the cattle prod.
Yeah, that's a little different story there.
That was funny because you said you guys got an email like a month later, or maybe he got an email like a month later, of these guys in like South America where there was like a language barrier.
Yeah.
And they were like thanking him because they were like, we've been using your cattle prod method for months.
Well, this
Not
started
making great progress. They've just been shocking each other, thinking it was like an actual training methodology.
Well, it started because he wanted to taser, right? So he wanted to, we'd be squatting, sit on the box, and then bam, taser him. And then that would jolt you up, to get another rep. So basically go to failure so you can't come off the box. And he was serious. And I know what a fucking taser is. Yeah. Like I've been tased, but just in security training, not being arrested. Yeah. I'm like, fuck that. No, I don't want to do that again. Yeah. And I also know what a cattle prod is. Yeah. So I grew up in the cattle prod's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It really is not. So before, because he's like speaking to cops and stuff to try to find somebody to come out and do this. And I'm like, he's actually serious about this. And now I'm getting concerned because I don't want to get tased. And I would have done it, but I didn't want to do it. So I had to come up with a backup plan. And he thought when I said cattle prod, like, oh my God, that's going to be, way worse. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like sticking your tongue on a battery. It's not a big deal. And so then when I bring him out, I'm like tasing my leg. He's like, oh, like, what the hell? And then I hit him and there's an initial shock if you're not used to it. Mm-hmm. But that's how that whole thing started. And then I bought them off Amazon too. So I didn't go to like a cattle supply and get the highest voltage thing I could get, but there was a couple of videos of that. But everybody thinks that's like way more than what it really is. Yeah. It's not a big deal.
I think you brought it up more just because he thought it was so hilarious that like these guys just thought it was like complete training method.
There was a more than just those guys. There was like more people than what we thought.
I saw like a recent video of like someone like tasing like their training partner before like their squat attempt or something like that. Like the guy just like comes up from behind and just like
we didn't think that one through.
It was a cattle prod thing, so he's just like, like ready to go.
Yeah, we didn't think that one through because it would just be a good video. You don't think that somebody's going to go actually do this, right? Or then you don't think that somebody's going to do it and think it actually is going to help.
That people are going to take it seriously and then actually think it's
there's a lot more people like that online than you think.
I like to throw in every once in a while like a stupid movement just to see if like it picks up.
You're doing like board rows or some shit.
Two board rows.
What people are gonna do.
But it's like so funny because like people are like, what's the benefit of this? I'm just like, it's just stupid, man.
I used to put shit like that in my training log. I would just come up with something like reverse band board row or just anything. You physically can't do it. But the number of people that would be so like, that's the secret. Yeah. Like the pucker cue. I can't wait to see how that's going to work. That's going to be great. Any final thoughts?
No, I don't have many thoughts.
That's good. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
It's been a great time and we're done. One of the best ways that you can support the podcast and your training is to join the crew. When you join the crew, you get an extra crew cast podcast every single month. You also get access to our Discord, which has a training Q&A with Team Elite FTS members. You get form checks. You can upload any of your training footage and have your lifts diagnosed, sometimes within minutes, by multiple people. Access to close to 30 different ebooks, training logs, and first sign up access to our weekend training retreats, train your ass off, and other events that we do. Biggest takeaways from that though, what people enjoy the most and get the most out of is the training Q&A and the form checks, as well as the extra podcast. Hey guys, I'm back in the gym with another limited edition apparel drop. This is the new Live, Learn, Pass On shirt. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our cambered grip American cable attachment. This attachment has 4 grips and it's cambered. So when you flip it, it actually becomes 8 grips. And if you turn it upside down, there's actually 16. This is one of our most used cable attachments out in the gym.
Even got that full range of motion. We got a second limited edition drop this month as well. Head over to EliteFTS.com, pick up the shirt, pick up the cable attachments, and we'll see you next time.
Matt with Elite FTS here at the Armory in Columbus, Ohio. This is a new build, beautiful facility. Should be opening up around November 1st, 2023. Looking at the posterior chain developer, signature version. It's going to have the logo panels on there. Reverse hypers, you can do glute ham raiser, back raise, any kind of posterior chain movement you want to do on this piece. This is really good. The best thing about this, so you just step down on the release, adjust it. So it makes it really easy to adjust these, no pop pins or anything of those sorts. So this is the signature posterior chain developer by EliteFTS.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Element, a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything that you need and nothing that you don't. In other words, no sugar, no artificial coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, and no BS. With the Element, I love the watermelon. The watermelon tastes freaking awesome. I drink 1 pack every day, no matter what. People that train out here, it's sitting out here for them all the time. The boxes don't last very long. Right now, Element is offering Table Talk listeners a free sample pack with any purchase. That's 8 single serving packages free with any Element order. Get yours at drinkelement.com/tabletalk. The deal is only available through the link in the description. The other thing is, if you don't like it, you can just give it away to a salty friend and Element will give you a 100% refund. No risk, money back guarantee. Head over to drinkelement.com/tabletalk.